Well, let's get set. Newcastle fans are set already with those scarves left on seats, painting a black and white picture. One half of Wembley Stadium, it's red, the other half. Wembley about to deliver again, live on Talksport. It's the Carabao Cup final. Liverpool looking for back-to-back League Cup wins. Newcastle need to end their trophy drought. Eddie and Arnie going head-to-head at the home of football. Newcastle take on Liverpool. Here's your commentary team on Talksport. Former League Cup finalist Darren Bent, former Newcastle midfielder Lee Clark, and your commentator Sam Matterpace.
So this is it. It is the holders against the hankerers, the deliverers against the desperate. For too long, the city that gave us Alan Shearer, Paul Gascoigne, Chris Waddle, Michael Carrick, Peter Beardsley, Jimmy Nail, Anton Deck and superstar singer-songwriter Sam Fender have been envious of the glimmer of hope so many others have had. Since Bob Moncur lifted the 1969 UEFA Fairs Cup, 31 different English clubs have won a total of 215 major trophies. Newcastle United have been people watching. Something heavy has been weighing on their shoulders since, and in order to change the course of history this afternoon, it's Liverpool and their fearsome attack that they have to keep at arm's length. Away to our right-hand side, the west end of Wembley is completely black and white. The scarves that have been left on the chairs of the Newcastle supporters are being twirled above their heads. Away to our left, a little bit more familiar with their surroundings, Liverpool and their supporters wait for yet another Carabao Cup final. Liverpool have to do it without Trent Alexander-Arnold. Ibrahim Konate plays despite having a problem late on against PSG. Queven Kelleher is the goalkeeper. He scored a penalty in a shootout in this final not so long ago. Jarell Quansah plays at right back. Ibu Konate, Virgil van Dijk and Andrew Robertson make up the back four. It's McAllister, Gravenberg and Szoboszlai in midfield, with Salah, Jota and Diaz the three-pronged attack. Well, Newcastle United are missing Anthony Gordon through suspension, Lewis Hall through injury, Sven Botman has been missing all season. They are unchanged from Monday night's scrappy win over West Ham United. Nick Pope, who missed the League Cup final in 2023, is their goalkeeper. The back four, Kieran Trippier, Fabian Schär, Dan Burn, just called up for England, and Tino Livramento. The midfield trio, Joel Linton, Sandro Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, and then up top, Murphy on the right, Barnes on the left, and Alexander Isak right the way through the middle. Big honour today for John Brooks, the referee, a first major cup final of his career. He took charge of the playoff final here last season when Southampton beat Leeds. He's not sent anyone off since Amad Diallo was dismissed for a second yellow card for his, in his view anyway, excessively celebrating his 121st minute winner in the FA Cup quarter-final a year ago. I think whoever wins today, there might be some over-celebrating. VAR is Stuart Atwell, and after we finish, the former Newcastle manager Alan Pardew will take your calls alongside Majestic, keep you across the United-Leicester game, and reflect on Arsenal's win over Chelsea, Fulham's win over Tottenham, and Rangers' win at Celtic. But our focus is here. A first pot for Slot, or time for a Toon trophy? No time to worry about contracts and futures. Today is all about the first trophy of a new era. Liverpool and Newcastle want to prove they are just getting started. Liverpool in their famous red, Newcastle United in their iconic black and white stripes were off and underway at Wembley under cloudy skies with the floodlights on and both sets of supporters in fine voice. Twice League Cup finalists Darren Bent is here, Newcastle legend Lee Clark is here as well. Benty, how important are the first few minutes of the game?
Yeah, it's going to be really important. Obviously Liverpool in their 4-2-3-1 type system and Newcastle in that familiar 4-3-3. I think the start of this game is going to be crucial. We saw Liverpool midweek against PSG. We went all the way 120 minutes. There are bound to be players out there that are sore, a little bit fatigued, and I think that could play into Newcastle's hands, but they've got to start the game fast. Really, I would start turning this Liverpool back line as well, using Isak's pace, using Harvey Barnes' pace, but they've got to start fast, Newcastle. Really try and lay a marker down in these first 10-15 minutes.
Well, Newcastle United a much more effective team in the first half of matches. Liverpool probably the opposite, so the start really does matter. They have a free kick just short of the centre circle away to our right-hand side, and they're just delaying early rhythm of the game by taking their time overtaking it. Nick Pope, who comes out, stands next to Kieran Trippier, and I think when he stands next to Kieran Trippier, you get a sense of just how huge he is, Nick Pope. Trippier sends the ball long up through the centre circle and up towards the edge of the Liverpool penalty area. Tonali wrestles with Szoboszlai, who's wearing a headband. Looks like something out of the 70s today, Dominic Szoboszlai. It's worked out wide to Murphy, who sends it on to Guimaraes, but Robertson is across there and he volleys the ball out from the left full-back position, wide of the area and out for a throw into Newcastle United. Really good start by Newcastle. They've tried to get the ball down and play really, really quickly. I'm fascinated in the battle between Livramento and Salah. I think both of them are extremely quick. Livramento, I think, he's better positions on that right-hand side, but he can obviously deputise at left. He's quick, and I think that will be a key battle because we know what Salah's like, using that pace. Here is Murphy getting the better of Robertson for pace and delivering the ball into the box. There were two over inside the penalty area. Couldn't squeeze it through to Isaac or to Joel Linton. And now the counter-attack is on at the other end. Tonali having to marshal Szoboszlai. He does well to get back. Szoboszlai keeps hold of it well and brings it out towards this near side. I think, Darren, actually, they're probably disappointed that Lewis Hall isn't available tonight because even though they lost 2-0 the other week against Liverpool, he had a really good game against Salah. Here down the left is Diaz trying to burst into the box. Trippier robs him of the ball, then slips and, accused of a push was Diaz, and it's a free kick in the right full-back position. Yeah, you're probably right. Lewis Hall done really well there, but just at the other end, I think there was an opportunity there. Murphy done really, really well getting down that right-hand side, but he opted to lift it. I think if he just tries to fire it across the 6-yard box, it keeps it low. I think Isaac comes in, he's in the middle of between the goal. He probably taps it in the empty net, but he opted to kind of lift it. Is that a few nerves maybe in this early part, which I can understand, the cup final. But their opportunity, he got the wrong side of Robertson. Just leave it in there, that 6-yard box, keep it low. Isaac puts it in the empty net. Well, Robertson is one of those who played 120 minutes on Tuesday night and might be feeling the effects of that, especially in the early exchanges. Here is Isaac bringing the ball down, nudging it to Tonali. Fast start by Newcastle United, who look energetic, but they always do. Here's Barnes stabbing at the cross, and he doesn't really get hold of it. And inside the area, he just sort of diverts it behind. But Lee Clark, your old team have made a really good start. Yeah, great start, Sam. Yeah, and as Darren said, the difference there with Murphy, he's just whipped it into the area between the penalty spot and 6-yard box. Harvey's come in from the opposite wing and just puts the ball wide, but a great start. Decent ball into the box, but he just couldn't get it under control there, Barnes. Yeah, good run as well, but that's what I like to see. I like to see if the ball's on the opposite side, you want to see the winger on the other side get themselves into the box. Don't hang out this side of the box. Make sure you get right in there at that back post, as Harvey Barnes did there. Just looking down at the two managers, Arne Slot just stalking the technical area down in front of us. We're on the halfway line, just left of centre, just directly behind the bald Dutchman, who has his hands in his pockets, looking rather smart in his slacks and his overcoat. Eddie Howe wearing more sort of training ground wear, really, and he was discussing that actually in the build-up to the game. So I don't think my attire is something I'll be thinking about too much. I definitely won't be wearing a suit. As Livramento goes skipping down the left-hand side, he's knocked to the floor by Alexis McAllister. There's a poor challenge by him, and it's going to be a free kick 10 yards outside the penalty area, wide on the left for Newcastle United, and an opportunity to craft something, Darren Ben. Yeah, really good play there from Livramento, obviously using his body, manipulating the ball, going past McAllister, and it's a lazy leg. I mean, it's a really lazy leg. Virgil van Dijk and Konate are moaning, but I mean, for me, it's definitely a foul, and I think he's lucky to avoid not getting a booking, because if Livramento gets the other side of McAllister, his next touch is probably a cross. Well, I wanted it to be a booking for our charity bet, but it wasn't booked. Here is the free kick on the near side. Barnes leaves it for Trippier, whose set-piece delivery is pretty good, but he's gone short to Barnes instead. They've worked it to the edge of the area, and Barnes has gone down the left-hand side to the byline, a low cross into towards the near post, and it's flicked behind by Gravenberg. But Newcastle have started with their foot to the floor. Really good play there between Harvey Barnes, and I think it was Joe Linton, the little 1-2, and again he gets to the byline, he gets his head up and he puts it into a right area, but defensively Liverpool getting the bodies back into the box. But really inventiveness, really sharp from Harvey Barnes there, and that's what he's going to have to do. That's why he's in the team. Brilliant little run down that left-hand side, trying to steer it back into a crowded penalty area. Shepherded behind by Gravenberg. It's out for a corner. The first of the game for Newcastle United. Wide on the near side, the right, as Trippier floats it in underneath the goalkeeper, who didn't catch that well. Just sort of got enough on it to help it away, and then Diaz manages to volley it towards the halfway line. But now here's the spring from Liverpool, who looked to get over the halfway line, but Nick Pope, starting on the edge of his box, came out, cleared that very quickly ahead of Salah, and it's into the Liverpool half of the field again, Liverpool haven't really got out of their own half very often in the opening few minutes of this game. We played nearly 6.
Yeah, really good play there from Diaz, and Nick Pope had to sweep up really well, because a fantastic ball from Diaz, and if Nick Pope's on his line and Salah's in, he's got an opportunity on goal, but really good goalkeeping there from Nick Pope.
Well, it looks as if Newcastle have given away a free kick over on the far side. Trippier is not happy about the decision that's been given against him and Tonali. They seem to sandwich Robertson over on that far side. Trippier says he didn't really make any contact with Robertson, but he sort of got hold of the ball, and then Tonali crashed in behind him, and he was in the end caught between the two players, and the referee decided to give the free kick.
Well, it looked like Robertson speared him, the way that he almost cut him in half. But really good play from Andy Robertson, who's by his own high standards this season probably hasn't been at his best. I mean, certainly defensively, playing a lot of minutes the other night as well. Big opportunity again from today.
Yeah, it's usually an assist machine as well. Here's the ball into the box from the wide right-hand side from McAllister, left-hand side, sorry, from McAllister, but it was right-footed. It's then kicked out quickly by Nick Pope out towards this near touchline. Gravenberch comes across ahead of Livramento, had made the break from defence, and it's out of play and away for a throw-in on halfway to Newcastle United. Liverpool really didn't make the most of that set piece. And Robertson's an interesting case, isn't he? Because he's hit double figures in terms of assists in 4 of the last 5 seasons, going from 2017 to 2023, but only 2 last season and only 1 this. It's a huge drop-off from him in terms of output.
Yeah, it is as well, but you know what, it's not even so much offensively. I know you just read out those numbers there and you're 100% spot on. It's defensively as well, running the other side. Like, it's almost like when someone goes past him, he can't get back there. There was a little opportunity where Murphy went past him there as well, and he couldn't quite sort his feet out.
Ball spread wide towards the right for Salah to chase. He's not going to reach that. It's going to float out of play rather harmlessly, and it goes out for a goal kick away to our right-hand side. So we played 7.5 minutes. You're listening to Talksport. We're live here at Wembley Stadium in the Carabao Cup final, the 65th League Cup final. The last time that Newcastle won at Wembley, the League Cup hadn't even been invented. Let's go down to Alex Crook, who's behind the Liverpool bench. What have you noticed so far? Has Eddie Howe given away any sort of demeanour? Because we hadn't seen him up until the kick-off.
No, we hadn't. It was noticeable that Arne Slot came out, did his pre-match interviews pitchside. Eddie Howe very much stayed in the sanctuary of the tunnel. I think he's absolutely delighted with the start his team have made. Lots of claps of appreciation from the Newcastle bench, and it's pretty clear they're targeting this Liverpool right-hand side with Quansah at right back and Salah maybe not the most willing of players in tracking back. Keep an eye on that, Sam.
Quansah on the halfway line now on this near touch. And actually, in the early part of the game, Murphy getting joy on the back of Robertson has also been a feature. And the fact that they've got 2 out-and-out proper wingers, I think, really holds them in good stead, Newcastle United, because those 2 wingers are jet-heeled, aren't they? Full of speed. Ball out towards the right side. Salah on the attack for Liverpool. And there's been very few of those in the opening 9 minutes of the game. Big Dan Burn, England's Dan Burn, just holds him off, edges him out, and it's out towards this near side. Newcastle really at their best when they press high from the front, defend stoutly without the ball, and commit bodies behind it, and then use the pace of Barnes, Murphy and Isaac to break. Liverpool a little bit more patient under Slot, but know that they can still hurt teams in transition, and they've got individual quality that will make anybody nervous. But Darren, they haven't been flowing as usual, have they? The 2 games against PSG were tough. Tuesday night was gruelling, but they did create chances in that game. Southampton was a real struggle for them in between those 2 legs of that Champions League last 16 games, but they've got to find their A game this afternoon.
Yeah, they do. As you said, the 2 games against PSG certainly weren't at their best at all by any stretch of the imagination, but they're going to have to be, I think, to beat this Newcastle side, who are willing, full of energy as well. We've got some top players in their squad as well, players that you know that can hurt you, the likes of Isaac and people like that. So I think for Liverpool, I thought the start was key, and they haven't really got going yet, but they've not really been in any danger yet. So as the longer the game goes on, I expect Liverpool to grow into the game and start to see Diaz and Salah and Jota certainly being more effective in this game.
Goal kick away to our left-hand side. Newcastle have lost 5 of the last 10, but before that, they had won 9 in a row. And the physicality of that Newcastle midfield is likely to give anyone problems, but they haven't struggled very often against teams, Liverpool, but they don't like it when they're bullied and pushed around in midfield, and Newcastle will push the limits of what is acceptable. Ball played out from the back by Liverpool, have the ball inside their own area. It's out towards the right side. Gravenberch away, up towards halfway. Cher comes across, meets Jota to it. Hasn't scored in 9 games, Jota. And the ball goes down the touchline, and eventually it's kicked out and away for a throw-in the right full-back position for Liverpool. It remains 0-0.
Surprised me about Jota, as you said there, the goals, because I think he's a really good finisher. I think there's an argument, apart from Mo Salah, he's probably Liverpool's most dangerous attacker in terms of finishing. 9 times out of 10, you give him an opportunity, he'll take it. Both feet, incredibly good in the air as well. Surprised me he hasn't scored for such a long time.
Won 2 of the 3 major cup finals he's played for Liverpool, but this is the first time that he's started in a major cup final, Diogo Jota, who spearheads the attack today. Ball sent long, Pope deals with it, Cher plays it out to Trippier in the fullback position. He smacks it into the midriff of Luis Diaz over on the far side. The Colombian got that right in the belly, and it goes out for another throw-in about 10 yards short of the halfway line. Liverpool 0, Newcastle 0, live on Talksport. It's Bruno Guimaraes over on the far side, just to turn it back towards the centre of the penalty area where Newcastle are defending. Burn to Cher. Cher, his defensive partner, kicks it long, headed away from Isaac by Van Dijk, and on halfway the Argentine McAllister picks it up, nudges it down into the path of Diaz, and Liverpool look to play with Konate and Gravenberch, and then out towards the left, and Andy Robertson up to McAllister again, but very quickly on the scene. Trippier motors up, puts pressure on him, stops it from being passed through, blocks that passing lane. It goes out for a throw-in on halfway.
Yeah, he's going to have to do that, Kieran Trippier, a lot, I think, this afternoon, because that's one thing about Liverpool that they do really well. Those little triangles, they try and draw the fullback out, and then the next pass is a little slide one in behind for Diaz, or on this right-hand side for Mohamed Salah. So Kieran Trippier there is going to have to be really intelligent, really quiet, get back into shape really quickly.
Excellent from Bruno Guimaraes, who tried to split the defence with a brilliant ball through the centre. Couldn't feed it into Barnes because Van Dijk stepped across. Good defending by the Dutchman, and Liverpool capped it. Played out wide now to Murphy. Murphy travels infield, gives it to Tonali. Tonali trying to hold off Szoboszlai. Pokes it round the corner. Maybe wanted a foul there. Glanced in the direction of the referee, but the referee says nothing. Doing it goes all the way back to Kelleher. Lee Clark, what have you made of the last 10 minutes?
A great start again, Sam. I mean, the pressing from Newcastle. There was an incident earlier here before throw into Liverpool, and Newcastle just went man for man. Quansah had nobody to throw the ball to. I think Eddie and his staff are getting them to press. Certainly, we've talked about this midfield 3-4-3, and they're getting right in the faces of that Liverpool 3, and they're not allowing them to get any momentum.
Another Liverpool attack breaks down, then it comes forward again after there was a hefty challenge in midfield on Bruno Guimaraes. The ball deflects back towards a Liverpool player, and an offside flag goes up away to our right-hand side. Whatever happens here today, there'll be lots to talk about with Alan Pardew straight after this game, and also tomorrow morning on the breakfast show when Andy Townsend and Ali McCoyce host the programme from 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, and that's live on Talksport Breakfast. 14 minutes played, Liverpool 0, Newcastle United 0. Sun just peeking out over the arch, and just a sliver of it just getting in the faces of some of those Liverpool fans away to our left-hand side. Free kick to Newcastle, smashed upfield by Cher, into the chest of the physically imposing Joe Linton, who has dyed his hair blonde once again for the occasion. He nods the ball past Gravenberch, and Livramento comes forward, and then a rather hefty challenge from Quansah on what is going to be his Liverpool teammate very shortly, but the ball comes to Murphy, who tries to hit it from 25 yards and looking to catch out Kelleher, but he overhits the ball, misses the goal, and it goes behind into the Liverpool fans. Darren Bent.
Wrong option there. I mean, for Murphy, I think he does really well to get himself into that position on the right-hand side, about 20 yards out. Kieran Trippier made a fantastic run on the outside. If he just leaves it in there, Trippier's next touches across into the box, and at that moment, Isaac was in the box, Tonali got himself in the box, Harvey Barnes was in the box, so for Murphy there, just the wrong option, taking a shot from 25 yards rather than just rolling it to his right-hand side and let Kieran Trippier come onto it.
Well, we're not medical scientists, so we're certainly not part of the sports science team at Liverpool, but I did note today that Mo Salah and Ibrahim Konate, both practicing Muslims, because we're in the month of Ramadan, wouldn't be able to take on any food or water since 4:32 this morning, and that's a good 12 hours before kick-off, and they can't take any food or water on until sunset at 10 minutes past 6. And I know, Lee, you've had experience working in Muslim countries, and it is a difficult thing to negotiate during the month of Ramadan, isn't it?
Absolutely, Sam. I mean, that's astonishing when you think a huge game no fluids allowed on board, no food for energy. And as you said, I had the experience while in Egypt. We, players during Ramadan, and we had to change our training programme. We trained at 1 a.m. I'm not sure Benty and the British lads would appreciate that, mate, but that was a new one for me as well.
There was only one club he was turning up to at 1 a.m.
I know, I'd have got training at 1 a.m. I'd have gone to the club straight after training.
Here is Salah on the near side, the right. It's up towards Gravenberch, and then back infield it goes to Konate. Konate to Van Dijk, and then through the centre circle it's out the other side, and now Salah does pick it up, looks to take on Livramento, but he goes infield to Gravenberch instead. He then in turn finds McAllister. We've played 16 minutes and Liverpool really haven't fostered anything that would be regarded as a semblance of a goal scoring opportunity.
They're certainly lacking a little bit of pop. Now, I don't know if it's because they played 120 minutes against PSG in the week, but they're just certainly in the final third, you have to say, they're a little bit off it. Their touch is a little bit off. The passes that they're trying to thread through as well, not quite on the same wavelength.
And they've picked the ball up on this in the middle of the park, and they look to try and spring a counter-attack here in Newcastle, and Jarell Quanto had gone careering into the attack and got sort of right side of the penalty area, and that meant when the ball was turned over there was loads of space for Barnes on this near side to just sort of speed into, but Newcastle couldn't squeeze the ball out to him before a foul was committed.
And that's the thing about Harvey Barnes, and he's been quite intelligent in this first part of the game, because what he's doing is hanging really, really wide on this left-hand side, and Kwanzaa's looking at Konate thinking, would you need me to come across? Do you want me to stay with Harvey Barnes? And he's taking up such an intelligent position, because if he gets the other side of Kwanzaa, there's no way Kwanzaa's catching him. Harvey Barnes is too quick.
Joel Linton's got the better of Gravenberch here. He's got the wrong side of him. They allowed the ball to bounce, and it's come all the way through to the Newcastle attack from a long free kick. Tonali through the legs of Gravenberch. Here's Joel Linton with a cross. It takes a deflection and spoons up into the air. Keller has got it, but they weren't set again there, Liverpool. They didn't defend that particularly well, and Newcastle couldn't profit. That was a really good opportunity.
Yeah, it was, and Joe Linton did the right thing again. Isak just pulled it off the front of Konate, and they just dropped the pass in behind him, and Joe Linton ran in there, and I think you're going to have to do that, because we know how quick Isak is, so he's going to have to kind of generate space for somebody else. He might have to keep dropping in short. I mean, if he does that, he needs runners. He needs Harvey Barnes to run in behind. He needs Tonali to run in behind, like Joe Linton did there as well.
I mentioned it to you earlier on, but Newcastle do start games fast. They've got to try and maintain this. Liverpool often ease themselves into matches. Here is Van Dijk out to the far side. Robertson now just a yard in from the touchline. High up in the air the ball goes, looking for the left-hand side where Diaz is running, but Kieran Trippier was underneath it. His experiences in major cup finals so far, losing the Champions League final with Tottenham, losing the European Championship final with England, and losing the League Cup final with Newcastle United here 2 years ago. Ball over the top by Fabian Schär, looking for the run of Isak, watched by Van Dijk and cleared away eventually by McAllister.
That's not the right ball. I mean, Fabian Schär, he's got comfortable possession. There's no one on the planet you're going to get in behind Konate and Virgil with one straight long pass. It's not going to happen. You need to pull it up there to Isak, someone set it, and then third man run. If you think one pass is going to get you from the edge of your own box in behind two centre-halves as good as those two, that won't happen.
Here is Gravenberch just in front of the centre circle, wide on the left for Liverpool, back to Konate, sweeps it wide to the right now, collected by Salah. Further on it goes, into the path now, it's the Bosley. A low ball into the near post, and across comes Fabian Schär, and manages to clip it out and away for a throw-in level with the edge of the Newcastle penalty area. 20 minutes gone, goalless on Talksport. We're live here at Wembley on this Sunday afternoon with Darren Bent, the League Cup finalist twice, and Lee Clark, the former Newcastle player, who an experience of a final with Newcastle. Well, the Newcastle fans anyway, behind a goal, which became probably about the most famous thing that Newcastle did in that final. Was that right, Lee?
It's already been mentioned, Sam.
Here's Bruno Guimaraes trying to force the ball through to the edge of the penalty area.
30 years later, that's still getting torn about.
Listen, it definitely endeared you to the Newcastle public. They won a corner over on the far side. That effort from Guimaraes to try and squeeze it through to the edge of the box has gone behind, and it's away for another corner to Newcastle, who certainly started the better here at Wembley this afternoon. And so often Newcastle United have found the back of the net. In the 15 games since the start of December in the Premier League, they've scored 33 goals. Only Liverpool have scored more goals than them since December the 1st. So we really should be in for some entertainment here this afternoon. Here is the corner to be taken by Murphy over on the far side. The ball has been placed down and then he's played it short into Isaac and then back out towards Murphy. I think there might have been an offside flag. Was that offside flag?
I think it was a foul. I think Isaac underhit the pass back to Murphy, and then as Jota had anticipated it to go and take it, he just gave him a little tug on his shirt. And I think the linesman was the one who saw it.
Yeah, over on that far side. It seemed a little bit of a mishap and certainly a wasted opportunity, I think.
I never understand why. I mean, Isaac, centre forward, very, very good in the air. He scored goals ever since he got to Newcastle. Why would you run outside the box there? Stay in the middle of the box, let someone else do that role.
Well, certainly Ant and Deck are in the house. They've just been shown on the big screen. Alan Shearer up there as well with his son Will, high up in the main stand here, the record goal scorer for Newcastle United with 206 goals. And all of those very much looking forward to what was a showpiece afternoon, hoping that Newcastle United could end that long period without a trophy. 1969, the last time they lifted any trophy, the forerunner to the UEFA Cup. The last time they lifted a domestic trophy was here in 1955. Here is Jota trying to fight with Dan Burn for the ball, and then Trippier comes across as the ball runs loose towards the right full-back position. He stoops low, heads it into the path of Nick Pope, and then he will clear it upfield for Newcastle United. Interesting, Nick Pope, he hasn't been at his best since coming back from injury, but it was pretty clear that Eddie Howe wanted to get him back in the team and up as much to speed as possible before the cup final here today.
Yeah, he's been fantastic ever since he got there. I know he's made one or two mistakes, and as you said there, Sam, not quite been at his best, but you know how much of a good goalkeeper he is. Maybe struggles a little bit with the ball at his feet. That's probably the one area you'd say in terms of a top-level goalkeeper he's lacking a little bit.
Quansah picks the ball up in the right full-back position, charges forward. It's won back by Newcastle, and then again, the idea, I think, for Newcastle has got to be, when Quansah does that, is to get the ball back out towards this near side, the left, as quick as possible. Here is Barnes, profiting from that, charging towards the edge of the box, now feeding Isaac, who's just down the left side of the area. He stops the ball on the byline and then pulls it back to the edge of the area. Tonali's got space on the edge of the box to get a shot away, and he sends the ball just wide of the left hand upright. And it just had Queven Kelleher a little bit more interested than he initially felt. He went scrambling across to his left, and it wasn't too far away from the left-hand upright. Darren Ben.
Yeah, really good play there from Newcastle. Initially with Harvey Barnes and Isaac linking up really, really well. I think the pass to Isaac was just a little bit overhit from Harvey Barnes, because that sent Isaac a little bit wider than it needed to be. But again, he held the ball up really well and just waited for support, and Tonali getting the shot off, which I think Kelleher was quite comfortable with.
Lee Clark, when you're in this sort of situation in a major cup final against Liverpool, you've played a quarter of the game and you've been bossing it so far. You've got to take advantage, haven't you?
You do, Sam. You've got to take your chances when they come along. You've got to get your nose in front, like you said, when you're dominating the game and you're on the front foot like Newcastle are. This is when you've got to take your opportunities, because you're going to think that Liverpool, sometime in the game, they're going to have a spell as well.
Ball over the top, looking for Diaz, well defended by Cher, and then Trippier. Let's go down to Alex Crook, our chief football correspondent, who is behind the Liverpool dugout. Now, is Arne Slot looking a little bit tentative and nervous down there now?
I'd say a little bit agitated, Sam, for sure, as Newcastle come forward again.
Here's Murphy down the right-hand side, bursting into a wing position, looking for Isaac, and Konate has to get in front of him and nudge the ball over the top, and it's out of play and away for a corner.
Do you know what? The delay from Jacob Murphy was what made the opportunity go. I mean, Isaac busts a gut, he gets into the box, he makes a really intelligent run off the back of Konate, and I think he wants it first time from Jacob Murphy as he goes down that right hand side, but he just hesitates a little bit, and that's what allows Konate to get back into position, because it's a really good run from Isaac. He busts a gut, he's on the right side, you leave it in that area, and Isaac's first touch is a shot on goal, but the fact he hesitated a little bit just took the opportunity away.
Here is the corner from the near side, which Trippier is going to take. Again, they're backloading the edge of the 6-yard box here, so a lot of people further away from the near post. Trippier's delivery is aimed towards that area. It's headed down by Bird, and it comes through to Guimaraes. Out comes the goalkeeper, Kelleher, and snuffs it out at his feet and just about lands on the ball in the nick of time. But it's another good Newcastle United opportunity.
Do you know what opportunity gone, Sam? Because Bruno Guimaraes does really well. He gets the ball under control, and as he gets his head up to square it, he takes another bad touch, and that's what allows Kelleher to come and get it.
And Liverpool looking to react now with Jota steaming forward on the left. He feeds it to Luis Diaz, who moves up towards the edge of the penalty area. Alexis McAllister with a cross, away by Livramento, stationed on the edge of the 6-yard box. He heads it out wide towards the left, and it's out for a throw-in. And I imagine that they are a little bit nervy on that Liverpool bench.
Yeah, they certainly are, Sam. There's been a couple of occasions where Arne Slot, the Liverpool manager, has quite forcibly called his assistant into the technical area. They're having trouble as well with these Newcastle set pieces. They were just complaining to the fourth official after that last one that maybe Dan Burn was fouling Alexis McAllister as he headed the ball down. So one to keep an eye on.
Still 0-0. You're listening to Talksport. We play 26 minutes live at the home of football, Wembley Stadium, here on this. Well, I think it's a pretty nice Sunday afternoon, although it's very, very chilly for the middle of March. They actually moved this cup final back a couple of weeks in order to try and give it more prominence, but also, I think, just to make it look more like a cup final. And Isak now trying to steal the ball away from Kwanzaa. He did that but couldn't get away from Ibrahimo Konate. Excellent work by the Swede, and so far excellent work from Newcastle United, who are on top in the cup final.
Yeah, Kwanzaa giving the ball away there, lapsing concentration. I think he thought he had more time than initially anticipated, and Isak won it back really well, and then Konate doing what all good centre-halves should do. They come across, cover their full-back, and he manages to get the tackle in, but Arne Slot was not happy about that.
This is the example, guys, I'm showing you here. I mentioned earlier, look at this now, man-to-man marking all over, so they find it difficult from the throw-in.
Excellent work from tactician Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall. Arne Slot is absolutely furious because whilst Lee was pointing that out, there was not only man-to-man marking going on, there was a little bit of man-to-man contact as well, which the Liverpool manager wasn't too happy about. He won't be happy about the statistics in the game so far. They've had 60% of the ball, but the goal attempts look like this: 0 Liverpool, 4 Newcastle United. Shots on goal, Liverpool 0, Newcastle 1. Shots off goal 0-3. Corner kicks 3-0. Shots inside the box 2-0 to Newcastle. I mean, literally, they've forced nothing so far as an attacking threat, Liverpool. It's been pretty much all Newcastle United as an attacking force.
But they look really, like I said it earlier, that there's no sharpness about their play, certainly in that final third. There's no little combinations, no little 1-2s. Salah's made a couple of half-hearted runs, but he hasn't really looked to really that dynamism to get really in behind the back line yet. No real combinations between Jota and Diaz on that left-hand side as well. So they've certainly started off a little bit, I'd say, more lethargic than Newcastle have.
Well, they have a free kick here, and it is halfway inside Newcastle territory. It's a couple of steps left of centre, and Robertson will drift it into the box. It's flicked away by Scher. Out towards the corner flag, where Salah is trying to let that go for the first corner of the game to Liverpool, away to our right, and he successfully does that. And there are still a lot of threats in this Liverpool team. Mo Salah, maybe not at his best recently, but he has produced career best numbers in the Premier League. He's equalled the Premier League record for goal involvements with 9 games to play over the course of one season. He needs 3 to beat the 42-game season record. And it's not just him. They have threats that others don't. Salah the standout, but Gakpo is off the bench and he'll be available to cause more problems in the League Cup. Diaz, Nunez, Jota, all capable at times. Here is Robertson with the corner, in towards the near post, flicked away by Joel Linton. Out to the near side and recovered by Robertson, who looks to take on Murphy, but Murphy holds strong and nudges it out for a throw-in down by the corner flag away to our right. 29 minutes played, Liverpool 0, Newcastle 0, live on Talksport at the home of England, Cup finals, playoff finals, and of course the Arch, Wembley Stadium, shining bright in the sunshine this afternoon. Here is Gravenberg on halfway, feeding it down the right. Another interception by Livramento, who started well in the left full-back position. Just marshalling Salah. The ball switched out to the right side. It's towards Murphy, but Van Dijk went across and headed it into the path of Robertson, who lifts it over the top now, and Diaz comes out, and so does Nick Pope with a really strong challenge on the edge of the box, and it was a forceful challenge by him, but the offside flag was up anyway.
Do you know, it's a really good run from Diaz, but he doesn't need to go so early. I mean, if he times it a fraction later, he's in on goal, and his next touch he probably goes past Nick Pope. But the fact is he went a little bit too early because the ball was fantastic from Robertson. He goes in short, Diaz, and he just spins it behind, and they just drop it into an area, but he doesn't need to go so early. And if he holds it a little bit, he's in on goal. But that's better from Liverpool. A little bit of thoughtfulness, a little bit of purpose with your runs in behind.
Never scored in a cup final. Luis Diaz was once sent off in one in Portugal. He's having a better season than last, but in truth his 2025 has not started with a bang. He has not scored once. He scored just once, in 17 games in 2025. And when you add that to the figures of Jota, who hasn't scored in 9 games, there is a lot of reliance on Salah as Tonali goes down the left-hand side, trying to get into the wing position. He's bounced off the ball by Konate, but the ball is then put behind by Gravenberch. It's another Newcastle United corner, Darren Bent.
Well, that sums up Liverpool's start to this game. The first 31 minutes in sluggish. I mean, Konate should just deal with it, just clear it and pull it out for a throw-in. But he's got caught up in this whole nuance of centre-half where it's unfashionable to just clear it. Tonali reads the situation, gets his body in and wins inside the corner.
Here is the corner to be taken by Kieran Trippier, who places it down inside the quadrant in front of the Liverpool fans away to our left. It's right-footed, it's tossed up to be attacked away by Van Dijk. Tonali brings it down, he'll send it back out to Trippier wide on the left-hand side. It's a deep cross, Kelleher comes, he doesn't really claim that. He collided with Dan Burn, the ball goes behind, and that's going to be a goal kick away to our left.
Do you know what, Sam? For everyone in this Liverpool side, and we talk about the attacking players who haven't started off that well, midfield really is getting bullied by Newcastle's. Virgil van Dijk's been fantastic, absolutely fantastic. He's read every single run that his ex made. Every time a cross comes in, he's got his body into the right position. He just nods it down to Gravenberch, who's the holding midfield player. He's certainly won, even though he played 120 minutes the other night. He doesn't look like he's not even so much nervous, like he's sluggish one bit.
A ball headed by Diaz. I think there might have been a free kick there. The referee eventually has a word with Trippier and says that there was contact with Diaz. That ball went up on the halfway line. He was going to play on, then decided not to. He's taking Trippier over to the far touchline. I don't know if he's going to produce a card here, John Brooks. I think he is. That's going to be the first yellow card that we've had in the game. There's a little bit of a discussion involving Bruno Guimaraes. He's also gone over there, the captain of Newcastle United. But I think that Trippier is going to be the recipient of at least a telling off, if not a yellow card. I haven't seen the yellow card come out yet, Darren.
No, I haven't seen it either, and it's a little bit naughty. It's one of those where you just kind of arch your body underneath the guy who's gone up for the header. In that instance, it was Luis Diaz, and it's almost like you know what's going to happen. The moment you do that, when he goes up in the air and you just lean into his body, he's going to come down. It's going to be an awkward fall. So he's done that a couple of times. I'm surprised he hasn't been booked yet.
I think that might be next one, and you'll be in the book, I think, from the referee there.
Play on at the moment. Elsewhere, there was a sending off in the game at Tannadice earlier on today. Dundee United had a player sent off in the first half. It's Dundee United 2, Dundee 4. That's the full-time score in the Dundee derby. In the Old Firm game earlier on, Rangers beat Celtic, a late winner for Igamane. And what a fantastic game it was for Fulham today. They beat Tottenham by 2 goals. You know what a great season they are having. Fulham Football Club, Darren and Lee's former team, up to 8th position and just 2 points off the top 6 now, thanks to yet another victory for Marco Silva's team. Chelsea beaten by Arsenal. Here is Barnes down the left-hand side, looking to get the better of Quansah. Does a brilliant delivery to the far post. Isak is there with a header, comes back to Trippier, slammed into the body of Robertson and deflects behind and goes out for a corner. Great move from Newcastle, brilliant cross from Barnes. The header that came in from Isak was blocked by Van Dijk, and then Trippier's effort cannoned off Robertson. It's out for a corner.
That's what we love from Harvey Barnes. He just stood up Jarrell Quansah and he had no answer for him there. Too much pace, too sharp, and just stands a fantastic ball up. And to be fair, it's good defending without knowing it from Andy Robertson, because he blocks the first header from Isak, and then Kieran Trippier on the rebound comes in and smashes a shot, and he blocks that as well. Really good defending from Robertson.
If they don't get in front before half-time, they'll be disappointed, Newcastle. Here's the corner, deep to the far post. Burn with a header towards goal. Flicked on by Guimaraes and into the arms of Caoimhin Kelleher. It wasn't the most fearsome header from Dan Burn, but it was a really good towering leap. And it's not the first time that they've tested Caoimhin Kelleher in the Liverpool backline. Lee Clark.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of time. If this continues, we've got to just get that one opportunity to get our noses in front and and then see what Liverpool have got, because at the moment we're the dominant team in all aspects of the game.
Well, Liverpool had 19 shots on PSG's goal on Tuesday. They only had 3 on target, but they haven't had anything of any note so far in the game here today, and it remains 0-0.
So intelligent from what Newcastle are doing, certainly in attacking areas, because Harvey Barnes is deliberately just almost hanging out here on the touchline, and Jarrell Quansah is looking across to Konate going, well, I want to go out there and engage with him, but I can't because he's so quick and so direct. It must be a nightmare to play against.
And Livramento, I think, is doing also very well at left back as well this afternoon. A right-footed left back, that is for sure. And England have got a few problems in that area, but Livramento might well be the one that steps in there this time around. If Miles Lewis-Skelly, they think it's a little bit too early for him, although he's played particularly well in Champions League and in Premier League as well. And John Brooks has given a free kick on this near touchline to Newcastle United, and Trippier comes across again to take it. Barnes is in discussion with him. It's a good 16 yards outside the penalty area, away to our left-hand side, and they're attacking that goal once again and causing Liverpool all sorts of problems. Liverpool at the moment have held firm, but won't be able to keep them out forever if it continues like this. It's once again sent in by Trippier. Good header away by Van Dijk. He's holding them at bay so far. Back into Joel Linton, and then round the back towards Isaac, but it's just a little bit too far behind him and goes through and cleared away by McAllister. And then the counter-attack is on here, and out comes Pope to head the ball away from Diaz, who looked like he was running through, and Newcastle just about judge it right to bring it clear to the halfway line. Guimaraes sends it out wide towards the right. Van Dijk with a header clear, and it was a good header back into an open area where Robertson could step across into the left fullback zone and clear. But it's won back again by Murphy. Now Bruno Guimaraes once more sends the ball out wide towards the left. Quansah gets there first. Good header. Exchanges passes with Salah, and now he bounds forward, Quansah, into the opponent's half of the field. But Joel Linton just timed his intervention so perfectly. Waited. You could see him. It was almost like a hunter waiting to pick off the hunted. Just nabbed the ball at just the right time, and then Quansah trying to stop him to escape, pulled him back, and it's a free kick. There's a problem here for Bruno Guimaraes, who's just down on his haunches, but he's up and he's okay.
I mean, Joe Linton there, it was great play from Quansah initially. He read the pass, headed the ball down, then drove with it. But the moment you allow Joe Linton to get back and get any kind of arm on you or any kind of physicality on you, you're not going to win that battle. I don't care who you are and how big you are. He's too powerful, too quick, and far too strong.
Has Kevin Trippier got a bit of a problem? Yeah, guys, he's been down there for 30 seconds to a minute. Ref's just having a chat. Eddie's been pointing over, saying to try and get a response from him.
Yeah, he's back up on his feet now and walking towards the halfway line, but he's just rubbing the back of his thigh. We'll go down to Alex Crook and see if he can investigate that in just a second. They are warming up. Matt Targett's just come out on the near side. Emil Kraft as well has just emerged from the bench just in case. Ball has been cleared upfield by Pope towards Joel Linton, who's ended up underneath.
There's bodies everywhere at the moment, isn't there?
There was a head collision between Szoboszlai and I think who's that down there? I think that's on that left-hand side. Is it Barnes who's gone down? No, it's not Barnes. It's Murphy, is it? No, I'm not entirely sure who's gone down. Tonali's gone down. Yeah, that's it. He's back on his haunches now. Let's go down to Alex Crook and find out what the response has been from Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall, because they have sent a few to warm up away to our left.
Yeah, they have. Looks like Kieran Trippier is going to receive some treatment here. He's just called over one of the Newcastle medical staff. As you say, it's the back of that right leg. He was down in a sort of sprinting position as if he was about to be on the starting blocks that went 100 metres on the edge of the penalty area. So he's going to be treated. Guimaraes, I think, will be okay. They have got subs warming up. Arne Slot, by the way, very unhappy demonstratively with the fourth official about how physical this Newcastle side are being. He was gesticulating to Darren England with a push and then a kicking motion. So that goes really into what Lee Clark was saying about how much Newcastle have been in Liverpool's faces in this first half. Trippier has just put on some kind of cream on the back of that leg, and he's going to try and continue.
Interestingly, I mean, we mentioned it right at the top of the commentary that they will push the limits, Newcastle, without doubt, in order to try and get every possible advantage. And certainly they've done that so far. Trippier almost caught out there by Diaz, who's complaining that there was a handball, I think, but the referee has said play on. We do have VAR. Stuart Atwell keeping a view on things from on high. Is Isaac on the halfway line, trying to feed the ball forward. The one thing I will say, despite the fact they've had a lot of the ball and maybe even crafted a lot of chances, they haven't really been able to get Isaac in the game yet, Darren Ben.
Now he's been marshalled really well from Virgil van Dijk, and every time he makes a run in behind, Virgil tracks him or he gives himself a couple of yards by going a fraction earlier, so when the ball does come he's already in position, and it's for Isaac and certainly some of his teammates to get him that opportunity. He's made intelligent runs.
referee should have allowed that to go because Joel Linton held off the challenge from Gravenberch really well, fed the ball to Tonali, and then the referee pulled it back for a foul on Joel Linton, and the move was sort of rushed, I think, by Newcastle, and then they gave the ball away very cheaply. But the referee could have helped himself and Newcastle there by allowing play on Lee Clark.
Yeah, without a doubt, I think it worked in Liverpool's favour, definitely. I'm not sure about Trippier, he just tried to pass the ball inside there. He's stretching again as you look, but tried to pass the ball inside and didn't get there and was rubbing the back of his thigh again. I'm not sure if he's going to be all right.
It's just snapped the hand of Fabian Schär and gone back into his position. It's cleared by Pope from inside his own penalty area. Getting a little bit darker now in northwest London at Wembley Stadium. The ball is headed forward. The floodlights starting to become the most dominant light force inside this wonderful arena. The ball taken back by Barnes and sent to Darren Ben.
Do you know what, Sam? If you're Liverpool now and you're looking at Kieran Trippier and you can quite clearly see that he's struggling, you start force feeding Luis Diaz. Just keep giving him the ball every single opportunity.
It's Livramento though that's coming forward on the left-hand side for Newcastle United, taking on Quansah. He goes to go on the outside but wants to come infield before he delivers across deep to the far post. It's over the head of Isaac and just scoots behind and goes out for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. And it remains goalless on Talksport, and Virgil van Dijk just having a word with a couple of his teammates. We're just about to get an indication very shortly, I suppose, from the fourth official exactly how many minutes are going to be added on. He's got a reserve official alongside him who is helping him out with the board today. We do extra things on Cup Final Day, don't we? There's an extra support official, a sort of fifth official in between the two benches that is helping out Darren England. And all the VAR mod cons. We've got Crookie helping us out as well, haven't we?
Rookie us.
Here's Livramento down the left-hand side on towards Barnes. Barnes with a low ball into the near post. It cannons off his shoes. I thought he did very well in the interviews earlier.
Listen, Crookie knows I love him. Crookie knows he's one of my favourite people, but whenever he comes on, he always has to give me a little bit of stick, so I've got to give him a little bit back.
I think the first thing he said to you when you walked in the door was something about... what was it? He said, you've come here to watch a cup final or something?
I think it was come here to watch a cup final again.
Yeah, he gave you a little bit of stick, didn't he? Here is, of course, because he's played in so many. The ball's been shuffled back to Nick Pope, who sends it long through the middle of the pitch. It's high, very high, and it's going to be eaten up easily by Van Dijk. That one back by Sandro Tonali, then sent out wide by Bruno Guimaraes. Newcastle on the attack here with Murphy down the right side. He's gone to send the ball deep into the box. Barnes trying to keep it alive. He's not going to be able to do that. Right on the extremity of the Liverpool half, and it goes out of play and away for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. We played 43 minutes. How would you sum up the first half, Darren Ben?
I'd say Newcastle have been the better side. I don't think Liverpool have got going yet, but if you're Newcastle, certainly Eddie Howe, you'll be delighted with the start you've made, but you haven't tested Kelleher yet. I mean, you've had a couple of opportunities where you've got into some really good positions, but you just haven't been able to manufacture that chance where you can get an opportunity on goal.
That roar was for Steven Gerrard, and another one for Ian Rush, who is in the stand today. Kenny Dalglish here as well too. Both Dalglish and Rush have represented both these two clubs, haven't they? Newcastle have a free kick on halfway, and we've played 44 minutes in the cup final, and so far it's been one-way traffic as far as goal-scoring opportunities are concerned, but it's still goalless here at Wembley between Liverpool and Newcastle. Here is Trippier dripping the ball towards the edge of the penalty area, attacked by Schär, comes back down to Barnes, inside the box, unleashes one, catches it, but it takes a deflection off Konate, and it's out for another corner.
Really good play there from Harvey Barnes again, picking up the pieces and just trying to get a shot off, and it was good defending there from Konate. But just before that, the cross from I think it was Kieran Trippier, there's two players on Virgil van Dijk, and he's the one who manages to get himself up there and just direct it away from danger. But Harvey Barnes picking up the second ball and trying to get a shot off.
All the stats belong to Newcastle in this first 45 minutes, but nothing on the scoreboard yet. Here's Trippier with a chance to maybe change that now. Taking a corner from the near side, floating it to the back edge of the penalty area. Burn with a header! And he scored! It's Dan Burn who scores on the week in which he was called up for England. He thunders a header into the corner to put Newcastle United into the lead in the cup final, and there will not be a more popular goal scorer adopted by Newcastle as a kid, forged his path back all the way through the leagues into the first team and into the England squad, and now on the score sheet at Wembley, Dan Burn puts them ahead in the Carabao Cup final, and it's Liverpool 0, Newcastle 1, and it's nothing more than they deserve.
That is some header, by the way, because there's not a lot of power on the cross from Kieran Trippier. He just leaves it in an area, and Dan Burn pulls off round the back, and he just comes flying forward. And I think the key to the finish is that he heads it down. I mean, he's getting marked really, really well. He's free. No one's marking him. It's McAllister that goes to challenge him, and he just comes onto it. He meets it on the just above the penalty spot, and he heads it down. And that's the key. If he doesn't head it down, he probably doesn't score. But he absolutely rockers it down past Kelleher to that right-hand side into that bottom corner. There's nothing he can do about it. It is a fantastic header from Dan Burn.
Wow. And scoring in the final is so important to score first. The last 8 teams that have scored first have all gone on to win the trophy. Lee Clark.
Brilliant. What a story this could be. Oh, we spoke about him before the game, the type of guy he is, what he's been about, winning that first call up to the England squad on Thursday. Now this, what a goal. Darren's mentioned it. What a header. Absolutely superb. And it's what Newcastle deserve. This isn't, not a fluke at the moment, this scoreline. Newcastle have been the dominant team, and it's just brilliant. This could be, the say fairy tales don't happen, this could be one of the very best.
Well, if fairy tales were going to be written, it would be written like this. Newcastle United leading the Carabao Cup final, and Dan Burn has scored the opening goal. We've got 2 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. Agam Deck can't believe it. They're crying in the stands. It's only halfway through the cup final. The ball is out over on the far side. Dan Burn was collecting trolleys in Asda after he was released by Newcastle. Well, certainly they'll be shopping for shirts with his name on by the time the cup final finishes if Newcastle are to lift the trophy. All those Newcastle fans, if they could have picked a goal scorer, it would have been him. 50-1 to score the first goal before the game with some bookmakers. It was even bigger at 66-1 on the exchanges with Betfair. Here on the near side, the ball has been picked up by Salah into the penalty area, in towards Diaz. Jota is there, he misses his chance from 6 yards outside the goal. He smashes it left-footed, and it's over the top of the crossbar and out for a goal kick away to our right-hand side. Dan Burn turns to the Newcastle fans, who are in fine voice, and as well they might be. They lead deservedly at the beginning of this final by 0-0. It's half-time after what has been a very one-sided first 45 minutes, but it's not the team that lead the Premier League by 12 points that are dominating. It is Newcastle United who lead the final. Liverpool's last 5 League Cup finals have gone to extra time. They would take that right now, Adrian Durham. Liverpool 0, Newcastle 1.
Dan Burn on fire. He blows kisses to the Newcastle fans. Absolutely incredible from him. He hasn't scored this season, hasn't scored for well over a year, and he chooses this moment to bury a header into the corner of Kelleher's net, and Newcastle lead 1-0. Lee Clark, you went crazy when that hit the net.
Brilliant. We spoke with Ian before the game, we talked about him. It was just a brilliant header. You know, he's come 12 yards out, straight in the corner. Kelleher couldn't do anything about it, and it's what Newcastle deserve. They deserve to be winning. They've dominated from start to finish. Liverpool have looked a team that have played a tough game in midweek with extra time, and the mental and emotional side of it, they look fatigued. Newcastle are in their faces every opportunity, and you can see from the technical area, Onslaught and his staff, they're moaning at the fourth official because Newcastle, they're not being over physical, but you're stopping Liverpool from playing. And at this moment in time, you know, everything's pointing in the right direction. The results going in the way of the team who's dominated the first half.
Well, Dan Burn, born in Blythe, made at Newcastle United, you could say. Eddie Howe saying before this final, Lee, nobody more deserving of an England call-up. One of the great football stories. He had to do it the hard way. Inspiring guy, talented player, a leader. He called him a real man, and you could imagine in the dressing room, we said, didn't we, he's feeling 20 feet tall now, having been called up by England. He's 30 feet tall now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
He's head in the arch.
Honestly, it is. It's the story. Sam mentioned it in commentary. The one player Newcastle fans would have wanted to score the goal to put them in the lead would have been Dan Burn. He epitomises what they're about, what the supporters are about, what they expect of a Newcastle United player, giving absolutely everything. And he's got quality as well, the boy. Don't just think, oh, he's there, he's a Geordie, he's a local lad, he's got the heart, he's got the passion. He can play, and he's been terrific since he's came through the door, and that'll be a magical moment. I just, hope that we can go and get the result. As I said, spoke to him earlier in the week when he got the call up and said this could be a phenomenal week in his life. Yeah, absolutely incredible, Dan Burn. But tell me, Darren Bent, he's giant, Dan Burn. Why is Alexis McAllister, who's about 5'2", marking him, but not marking him very well?
Yeah, it made no sense. It almost looked like at the very last minute, Alexis McAllister thought, I'll go and pick him up. And it was a half-hearted effort, to be fair, to try and get your body in and stop him. But, I mean, it's a great ball from Kieran Trippier, but the key is there's not really a lot of pace on there. But Dan Burn comes onto it, and he absolutely rockets it into the turf, and it obviously comes off the grass and goes into the corner. But you're right, from a set play standpoint, you're looking at it and thinking, well, surely you get one of your better headers on him, Virgil van Dijk or Konate. The fact that Alexis McAllister was tasked with that at the very end to mark him, I mean, you get what you deserve, and when you're sloppy on set plays and you don't do your job, these things happen, and Dan Burn, it's a superb header.
It smacks of a lack of preparation, dare I say it, from Liverpool. We'll see how they cope in the second half, because they now know about the threat. But you said it, Darren Bent, in the middle of that first half, before Newcastle had even scored, Liverpool was struggling to deal with Newcastle's set pieces.
Yeah, they were. I mean, every single time that the cross came in, it was Guimaraes had a good chance. His touch gets away from him and he doesn't get an opportunity on goal. We saw again Guimaraes where he doesn't get the first contact, but then he tries to kind of generate the power, and it's a good save from Kelleher. But other than that, I mean, Newcastle that first half I thought had been outstanding. Bar Virgil van Dijk for Liverpool, who I thought was magnificent, as he always is. He's probably the only one who can go into that change room now, and Arnie starts looking about and going, other than him, any one of you lot can come off. I think Kwanzaa struggled to deal with Barnes. Konate's not come over across and help Kwanzaa too much. Salah's been non-existent, but you're not going to take Salah off. Jota hasn't held the ball up. If you're Cody Gakpo, surely he's either coming on now or you give it 5 minutes and he's got to come on, because they've just lacked real cutting edge, certainly in that final third, Liverpool.
I've got to say, I mean, I'm not a big believer. I bow to the superior knowledge of you strikers. You and Dean Ashton have both told me Jota's a brilliant finisher. Well, he's screwed a shot well wide of goal. I mean, Liverpool have done nothing in this first half. The stats are all Newcastle's, as Sam was saying in commentary, and yet they could be level, probably should be level, because he's right in front of goal, and it's closer to the corner flag. What's Jota doing?
The only thing is, I think his touch is a little bit awkward, because then the spin off the ball is going back, so he leans back a little bit, but as you said, he just doesn't get contact on it. He almost snatches at it, and when you snatch at it and you're off balance, it's incredibly difficult to hit the target. And as you said there, it goes really, really wide, but he just hasn't really got himself into the game. As you can see, the ball's going up to him, he's giving it away. Liverpool fans just below us are getting really frustrated with him because he's not helping the team build up from the back. And that's where I think if you're Gakpo and you're Arne Slot, you're thinking, how long do I give him? Do I take him off now? Do I take Diaz off now? I think Gakpo has to come on. He's been brilliant in this tournament all season. I think he's the most dangerous attacker they've got, bar Salah. The fact that he started on the bench, I wonder if Arne Slot's thinking, I might have made a mistake here.
Yeah, he may well be thinking that. We'll let Lee Clark enjoy his excitement at half-time for the moment. There's a second half to come, unfortunately, Lee. They need to keep clean sheet, and then they will win that trophy. 70 years ago, when photographs were in black and white, TV was in black and white, that's when Newcastle last won a domestic trophy. Well, London in Wembley is going to be black and white if Newcastle can hold on to this. Dan Burn with the most popular goal probably Wembley's ever seen, and Newcastle lead Liverpool live on Talksport in the Carabao Cup final by 1-0.
Power up your business with Peugeot's new LCV range at our professional days. Our new all-electric vans offer plenty of range to get you from A to B, up to 20 driver assistance systems and complete connectivity. Buy a new Peugeot van between the 17th February and 17th March and you'll get a £750 saving plus a free home charger with standard installation for all-electric vans. Peugeot. Business powered. Valid from 17th Feb to 17th March 25. Saving on OTR price. Business users only. Selected stock. Participating retailers. Full T's and C's apply. Visit Peugeot.co.uk.
Associate Editor of The Times Magazine. This weekend, you can read The Times and Sunday Times for free and discover the best of our journalism. We've got an interview with the iconic artist Grayson Perry, an exclusive extract about John and Paul's relationship before the Beatles. We reveal who made it onto our first ever Beauty Rich list. And don't miss our Formula One coverage, including Lewis Hamilton's debut race for Ferrari. Read The Times and Sunday Times for free this weekend at thetimes.com.
With a Travis Perkins trade account, You open the door to big trade deals every single month. This month, we've gone big on landscaping. Right through March, get 18mm Indian sandstone paving from as little as £19 per square metre, with various pack sizes and colours available. Join the club and get this and other big landscaping trade deals this March with your trade account. Travis Perkins, doing what matters for the trade. All prices exclude VAT at 20%.
When it comes to sports betting, it's important to cool off and play safe. Set deposit limits to control your spending. Set timeouts when you need a break. And set reality checks to know how long you've been playing. Showtime ain't always go time. Stay safe, players, at BetMGM.
18 plus, please gamble responsibly.
Get ready for the most anticipated F1 season in years. And see every race live.
It's lights out and away we go.
See if Lewis will be reborn in red. Can Lando land the big one? Or will Max make it 5 out of 5? The new season starts 16th of March. See every race live for just £15 extra a month, only on Sky Sports F1. Offer ends 26th of March. Sky TV required. See sky.com for details. Further terms apply.
At Morrison's, more card prices save you money on your shop. With Surf Powder 80 washes, regular price £10.
More card price
£7. That's less than 9p per wash. And 1.25 litres of Diet Coke and Coke Zero, regular price £2.
More card price
90p. That's better than half price. Pay less with more card.
Morrison's to shop at Morrison's.
Majority of supermarkets online varies. Selected Morrison's daily stores. More card at required. 16 plus. Serve 4 kilos.
Football is full of big moments.
Penalty!
The near misses.
Oh!
The last minute winners.
It's an absolute screamer!
Put yourself at the heart of the action with Betfred. Check out our huge range of football markets, daily offers and price boosts in shops and online. Love football? Betfred. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Live at Wembley, this is Talksport. Newcastle lead Liverpool by a goal to 0. We're in the slightly to the Liverpool half of the stadium, and I think they're pretty shell-shocked. I think they can't believe what is going on. Newcastle 1 up. Let's get the latest from Betfair.
Odds update on Talksport with Betfair. We're paying out winning bets at 90 minutes with 90-minute guarantee. Applies to match odds. 90 market sportsbook exclusive. T's and C's apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
So Dan Burn with a goal. Newcastle 1 up. Sam Rosbottom, how are the half-time odds looking?
Well, I can tell you that Dan Burn to score first, it was backed as big as 85 to 1 on the Betfair exchange. He looked a massive threat, though, didn't he, from corners? Literally a massive threat, Adrian. But look, Newcastle in the driving seat, now into 2-5 to lift the trophy. Liverpool out to 15-8. How will the next 45 minutes pan out? Liverpool to turn it around in the second half. They're currently 9-2 in the match odds market. Newcastle to hold on in 90 minutes, 8-11. The match to end a draw, 9-4. If Liverpool are to turn this around, then they're going to need their key players to step up, aren't they? Because they haven't done so in that first half. Mo Salah has scored or assisted in his last 8 Premier League matches. Where's that Mo in the first half? We have odds boosted him to 7-4 to score or assist in the second half of this match. No cards yet either in the game, but plenty of fouls. Trippier and McAllister have both committed 2 each, and we've odds boosted them both to be shown a card. Trippier now 2-1 to be shown a card. McAllister now 11-4 to be shown a card, which is exactly what we want for our charity bet builder. We're raising money for the Bobby Moore Fund, aren't we? Sam Matterface has gone for Isak to score, Salah to score, and McAllister to be booked. We back that at just a little bit bigger than 22-1, so our £50 charity stake will return over £1,000 if all 3 of those lands in the second half. So fingers crossed for an entertaining second half and a bet builder winner.
Sam, great stuff. Dan Burn as long as 85-1 on the exchange is extraordinary. That odds update is all thanks to Betfair. Returns accurate as of 10 minutes ago for verification. See betfair.com. Over 18s only. Conditions apply. Go to begambleaware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Betfair. We're paying out winning bets at 90 minutes with 90-minute guarantee. Applies to match odds. 90 market sportsbook exclusive. T's and C's apply. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
Now, earlier today in the Premier League, Arsenal cut Liverpool's gap at the top to 12 points after Mikel Merino's first half header gave them a 1-0 win over Chelsea at the Emirates. Let's hear from the Gunners' boss, Mikel Arteta, who was glad that his side could return to winning ways in the league.
Very good. It's always a big match against a really good opposition. I really enjoyed analysing them and what Enzo is doing. And we won it. I think we deserve to win it as well because we didn't really concede nothing apart from that strange save from David. We scored the goal and we should have scored many more because we had so many situations that they didn't even finish on a shot today. But the attitude of the team, I loved it.
Chelsea stay fourth after the defeat. They're only a point behind Man City and point ahead of Man City and 2 behind Newcastle, who now have a game in hand. Despite their defeat in North London, Chelsea head coach Enzo Maresca was pleased with his side's display.
I think we compete until the end. Unless the first 20 minutes where we struggle a little bit, then we finish first half, control the game, create chances. Second half, the game was there 50-50. But for me, the big difference between us and them today has been in set pieces strategy. We struggle a little bit the first 20 minutes, but then we create some chances at the end of first half. We control the game. Second half, the game was there. And I think between the first game and today's game, I didn't see difference between us and them. And this is something that we need to think and try to finish in the right way the last 9 games.
Just to be clear, Chelsea fourth, a point ahead of City, 2 ahead of Newcastle, 5 behind Nottingham Forest. In the other game, Spurs lost their 15th league game of the season. They've lost more than half their Premier League games so far this season. They were beaten 2-0 at Fulham. Late goals from Rodrigo Muniz and Ryan Sessegnon, their former player. After the match, Talksport's Jake Robson spoke to Tottenham manager Ange Postecoglou.
I mean, I don't think they really created much. I don't think Vic had a save to make, and we had a couple of big chances to go 1-0 up. But we've done that a fair bit this year of conceding a soft goal, and when you do that, especially away from home, then just gives the opposition a chance to grow into the game.
And then obviously the second goal is probably one Ben Davies won't want to see again.
Yeah, but it's not about Ben. It's just, like I said, as a team, we've had it too many times this year where we've just given oppositions a leg up. Where if we had hung in there, we could have got something out of the game.
And just lastly, between now and the end of the season, obviously all hands on deck for the Europa League. Yeah,
but we've still got to push on in the league, and we're still going to have the Thursday, Sunday sort of turnarounds for the next period. So we need to make sure that we're ready for that.
Spurs 13th in the table, 5 points behind Crystal Palace and only ahead of Everton on goal difference. Back here at Wembley, Newcastle are on the brink, keep a clean sheet, and they win their first domestic trophy for 70 years, and Dan Burn will be the hero. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0, live on Talksport in the Carabao Cup final. Let's get the second half with Lee Clark, Darren Bent, and your commentator on Talksport, Sam Matface.
Well, the only Newcastle players to score at Wembley before Dan Burn did towards the end of that first half, since the team that beat Manchester City in 1955 were Alan Gowling in 1976 and Rob Lee in 2000, who before the game said that he would actually like that record to come to an end. He would like to stop being a quiz question, really, being the last Newcastle player to have scored at Wembley. Well, he isn't anymore. That honour now belongs to Dan Burn. He's put Newcastle in charge in the final of the Carabao Cup, and it's a good job too, because they are definitely a first half team, Newcastle United. 11 of their 31 goals since Christmas have come in the second half, which means almost 2/3 of them have come in the first 45 minutes. Liverpool definitely a second half team. They have such a good record as well against Newcastle United, and they will get a chance at some point, Darren Bent.
You'd expect them so, yeah, because they can't play as badly as they did in that first half. I mean, both teams unchanged. Liverpool in that 4-2-3-1 and Newcastle in the 4-3-3. I am surprised that Arne Slot hasn't opted to go to his bench already and look at someone like Cody Gakpo, because that first half they were really sloppy. No one was really running with any real intent. They didn't create anything. And one thing about Cody Gakpo, he was brilliant. I thought he's had a brilliant season so far, certainly in this competition as well. That's a bit of a surprise, but I think Arne Slot will probably give it 5-10 minutes, assess the situation, and if he needs him, he's going to have to bring him on.
Such a fascinating first 45 minutes. Liverpool thought they could have had a penalty where the ball flicked up and hit Kieran Trippier on the arm. Dan Burn had got first contact in 3 of the 5 corners that had gone into the box before Newcastle scored from one. So it's not as if Liverpool hadn't had a warning from set pieces that Dan Burn was going to be a huge threat. He hasn't scored a goal for a very long time, Dan Burn. He last goal for Newcastle came in the 4th round of the FA Cup last season against Fulham, but he has scored the goal that has put them on top here. No changes, as we said, at half-time. Newcastle now shooting towards their supporters away to our right in those black and white striped jerseys, black shorts and black socks. It's red shirts, red shorts and socks for Liverpool, who stride forward now with Van Dijk over the halfway line. I'll give you the 11s in just a second. Jota has got in between the 2 defenders and set it back towards Diaz, but Joel Linton, watching it all the way, gets back, nabs it away from the Colombian and puts it out for a throw-in on the near side. We'll get Lee Clark's view on that in just a second, because the ball is back in play very quickly, and McAllister has it now, shooting towards the Liverpool fans away to our left-hand side, and they're in possession inside Newcastle territory. They go backwards rather than forwards, though, and Lee Clark, that was a really important touch there from Joel Linton.
Superb work off the ball. Darren mentioned it first half down here when he tracked back 30 yards to stop Quansah getting in and getting across it, and he's done it again there. Brilliant work off the ball from Joel Linton.
Ball spread by Liverpool out to the far right-hand side. Salah approaching the penalty area, just shuffles it back into McAllister. Now it's on to Gravenberch. Gravenberch trying to... Well, it looked as if he was going to force the ball into the box and then decided better of it. Turned it back to Konate, who chips it over the top. That's going nowhere. He's going to float behind and away for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. So Liverpool with Kelleher in goal. Quansah, Konate, Van Dijk and Robertson the back 4. Gravenberch, McAllister and Szoboszlai in midfield. Salah, Jota and Diaz going forward. They haven't had a shot on target in the game yet, Liverpool. Newcastle certainly have. They lead by a goal to 0. Nick Pope is the goalkeeper. Trippier, Cher, Burn and Livramento the back 4. Guimaraes, Tonali and Joel Linton the midfield trio, with Murphy, Isaac and Barnes. So far it's boys' own stuff, with Newcastle supporter Dan Burn scoring the only goal of the game. Here is Trippier, who we thought might have to come up with an injury. Sends the ball forward out towards the right-hand side. Murphy's long ball cut out before it can reach Isaac. He's got it back again, though. Couldn't squeeze it back to Harvey Barnes. Liverpool get it away from inside their own half and shuffle it to the right, where Quansah comes forward and plays it into Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai to McAllister.
They certainly look a lot sharper, Liverpool, in the second half. The way it started, there's more people running in behind, running with real purpose. And even that chance there, to be fair to Luis Diaz, where Joe Linton gets back, Luis Diaz takes too long. There's no real energy to get there. I'm sure if he goes and meets the ball, then he gets an attempt on goal. But the fact he kind of held back and waited for the ball to come to him, that's what allowed Joe Linton to come back and get the ball.
Interestingly, though, Darren, with the bodies that they then throw forward, that leaves gaps for Newcastle to run into, and they really like those gaps. And Barnes is trying to expose one now down the left-hand side, trying to get a cross in after dragging him up the pitch. He plays it off Quansah. He's out for another corner.
Yeah, really good play there from Harvey Barnes, carrying the ball at real purpose, with real energy. But Liverpool are going to have to do that. Yeah, as you said there, they are going to leave gaps. You are going to leave maybe Virgil 1v1 with Isaac, or Barnes 1v1 with Quansah, but they're 1-0 down. It's not 0-0 where you can build yourself into it. At some point, you're going to have to throw everything at it and try and get men forward and really try and cause Newcastle a problem, which is something they didn't do in that first half.
Is Alexis McAllister still going to be detailed to mark Dan Burn? The answer, yes. Corner, far side, to be swung in by Trippier. And Burn lurking at the far post, once again looking to try and get on the end of this delivery. It's being blocked by McAllister. It's aimed deeper this time to Joel Linton, who sends it back into the penalty area. It's steered towards goal. It comes up the goalkeeper and tucked in by Isaac. The offside flag is up on the near side, and Newcastle are denied a second goal. There will be a check from the VAR. It was Dan Burn again who prodded it goalwards after the initial ball was sent out wide and Joel Linton recycled it. It went back into the middle. His shot was saved by Kelleher. Came back out to Isaac, who put it in. Was it offside? That's the big question.
Do you know what? It's really, really sloppy again from Liverpool's perspective.
Oh, this is tight. This is really tight.
Joe Linton is at the back post on his own, and no one picks him up.
Oh, that was tight.
Stuart Atwell's made the decision. It was very, very quick, the decision. I tell you what, I'm having a look at it now, and the reason it's been given is not because of Isaac being offside. I think it's been given because Bruno Guimaraes was standing in front of the goalkeeper.
I agree, Sam, yeah. Do you know what you mentioned about McAllister picking Dan Burn up? why that's happening is there's half zonal mark in Liverpool, and then the players that are left over from the zones are having to designate a player who's coming into the box, and that's why McAllister's ending up with Dan Burn, which is just a no contest. I think they need to change it, Liverpool, because if this keeps happening, Newcastle could get another goal from a set play without a shadow of a doubt.
They need to change it ASAP, because even that one there, Dan Burn was marked by McAllister, but Joe Linton was on his own at the back post, and he was the one who put the ball back across the box. And as Lee was saying there, they're going to have to change that. They cannot keep doing that, because eventually, with the size of Newcastle, they'll keep getting the first contact and they'll get that second goal.
Here is Livramento over on the far side, trying to exchange passes with Barnes. Gets to the byline, produces a cross deep towards the far post. Murphy with a header down to Isak. It's a second goal. It's another goal for Newcastle United. It's converted from 10 yards out by Alexander Isak. And on a wave of emotion, song and hope, Newcastle, who came here with hope that they had the weapons to end a 56-year trophy drought, have just unleashed a hypersonic missile from the boot of Alexander Isak, which has given them a 2-goal lead in the Carabao Cup final.
It's a fantastic finish from Alexander Isak, but they work it really, really well. And I think it's Jacob Murphy who gets up at the back post and heads it back across. But I think the key to this is that Isak's on his toes. He's not standing still, and he just creates half a yard. But when it comes to him, he's got to keep it down, and he manages to do that. It's really, really unselfish finish, but good play again, because Livramento was the one who puts the cross in. Jacob Murphy just heads it back into an area, but Isak's alive. He's anticipating that the ball might drop, and when it drops to him, it's a really, really nice finish. You're 6 yards out, you don't have to smash it, he just guides it past Kelleher. Really, really nice finish.
Well, they can't believe it, the Newcastle fans. Some of them are in stunned silence. There's a gentleman not too far away from us who can't lift his scarf above his head to twirl it. Instead, he's wrapped it across his mouth, almost gaping, can't quite believe what he's witnessing here. The scoreboard reads, in the Carabao Cup final, Liverpool 0, Newcastle United 2. Lee Clark.
Amazing, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. You know, in that combination, Jacob Murphy, Alexander Isak, this season the assists that Jacob's done for Alexander, but and vice versa, they've combined again. Absolutely brilliant. As we said, another cross causing Liverpool problems.
Well, 2 goals, one either side of half-time for Newcastle United, and all of a sudden Liverpool have got to come from 2 goals behind in the Carabao Cup final to end a remarkable feat here. Ball into the box from the left by Andy Robertson on this near side. It's too heavy, and it goes out over on the far side. Well, look, up in the executive boxes, the emotion is almost uncontainable. Ant and Dec jumping all over each other. Alan Shearer has been engulfed by family members. What's happening on the benches? Alex Crook.
Well, Liverpool are going to make a double change in response to that second goal. Curtis Jones and Darwin Núñez being readied. And there was a lovely embrace between Eddie Howe and his assistant Jason Tindall as that Isak shot hit the back of the net. What a journey it's been for those two, from the bottom of League Two to on the cusp of victory in a Wembley final. This is dream stuff.
Well, there's a long way to go yet, and we've only played 9 minutes of the second half, but Newcastle do have a 2-goal lead in the cup final. And I'll go back to Wembley Cup finals past. Have seen teams come from 2 goals down before. I think Manchester United came back against Crystal Palace and won the cup final from behind. Hull City were 2-0 up here in a cup final against Arsenal, which Darren Bent is quite keen to remind me about. And there will be a warning for Eddie Howe and for Jason Tindall not to rest on their laurels, but if anybody can keep teams out from here, it will be Newcastle, who will run the clock down, I'm sure, and manage it particularly well. They beat Arsenal in 2 legs of a semi-final, 2-0 on both occasions, and now they're 2-0 up against Liverpool, and there's activity on the bench because Darwin Núñez and Jones are about to come on, Darren Bent.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised there's no Cody Gakpo, but Curtis Jones to try and get a foothold in the middle of the park. And I think for Darwin Núñez, just to cause a little bit of chaos. You know what he's like, he'll run really hard, he'll use his body, his physicality, do you know what I mean? He'll get in the opportunities, it's whether he can take one of those opportunities. But I mean, going back to that Isak goal, I mean, it's such intelligence from himself, because the cross goes over his head, Jacob Murphy does really, really well to head it, and he just pulls off Virgil van Dijk. And that's probably the only half a yard that Virgil van Dijk's given in this whole game, but he pulls off onto the penalty spot. And I didn't give the finish the justice, because he just sweeps it, like almost sweeps it back across his body into that far corner past Kelleher. It's such an intelligent and such a cool finish that they deserve it. And he's been really quiet, Alexander Isak, but just burst into life in that moment.
If you're going to burst into life, burst into it at that moment. Alex Cook has got details of the changes. Silence is golden. He clearly hasn't got details of the two changes. Darwin Núñez is on for Diogo Jota, and the other change, I think, was that Konate came off for Curtis Jones, and Gravenberch has gone into the back line, Darren Bent, which is a slight surprise.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to get more attackers onto the pitch, which I think is what he's going to have to do, because at the minute it's been too safe from Liverpool. Luis Diaz has done okay. Mo Salah's not really been in the game. Jota was offering nothing. You need someone who's going to mix it up a little bit, and someone like Darwin Núñez, yes, you don't know what you're going to get, but one thing you know you're going to get is energy and endeavour, and someone who's going to work hard, run in behind and cause a lot of problems.
Good job your mate Crookie was concentrating then. Here is Newcastle regressing down the left-hand side, trying to get into an advanced position. There's a foul there on Harvey Barnes, and there's going to be a free kick about a yard in from the touchline. Alexander Isak with the second goal, his 22nd goal in 26 appearances, and another set piece about to be unleashed into the box here. Liverpool 0, Newcastle United 2. Dan Burn coming up from the back. It's been a fascinating game so far, and you can only applaud the way that Newcastle have approached this. Liverpool have been very off colour so far in the game, but we haven't reached the hour mark yet. There's still a lot of time for them to claw their way back in it. Here is the free kick from Trippier, deep to the far post, headed away by Van Dijk. Doesn't reach a black and white jersey, but Murphy gets there first, and then into Guimarães by Fabian Schär, but he was in an offside position there, the Brazilian, and that ball's going to be returned to Liverpool, and they'll have a free kick on the edge of their own penalty area.
That was better from Virgil van Dijk. It's almost like he said, you know what, I'm not going to stay in that centre area of the zone, I'm going to go to the back post and deal with it. And he was the one who got up, got his head to it and got it away. And again, it's an uphill battle for Liverpool now, because they have to start committing men forward. They're going to have to play with a little bit more energy.
Well, they are unbeaten in 17 meetings between the two since a defeat in December 2015. And here is Luis Diaz out wide on the left, feeding the ball in towards Szoboszlai, back into the centre. Curtis Jones is there. Nick Pope pushes the ball over the top of the crossbar. It's a brilliant save. There's a collision between Tonali and Guimarães inside the penalty area, which has done some damage to the Italian, but the save from Pope was essential, and he did so strong-handedly, pushing the ball up into the sky over the top of the crossbar.
Yeah, it's a fantastic save from Nick Pope, but if he keeps it down, Curtis Jones, he scores. They work it really well between him and Szoboszlai, and he's... The problem is from Curtis Jones is he just smashes it straight and high, and it's a comfortable save for Nick Pope in the end. I mean, it looked better on the cameras than it probably actually was, but I think if he keeps it down, he probably scores.
Well, it's a good chance for Liverpool, and still a big problem here for Tonali, who's rolling around, writhing around in pain, away to our left-hand side. And Liverpool, knowing that that's the sort of chance they're going to have to convert if they're going to turn this cup final on its head. And I just wonder exactly where Tonali got that ball. I'm just having a look here, or where he got collided with. I think actually what happened there is that Bruno Guimarães, as he slid to try and block that, almost sort of squeezed his leg between Tonali's.
Saw one that.
Yeah, not very comfortable that, I wouldn't have thought. Just to touch on what Darren was saying about the lack of energy in Liverpool, they showed a bit in that move there, and he's mentioned about Gakpo as well. I would even consider Gakpo and Harvey Elliott as well to give them some energy, because they've just lacked that in abundance today. They've had none of it whatsoever with the two subs that have been made. Because Harvey Elliott, scoring that goal in Paris to win them the first leg, and as you said, Gakpo, the goals he scored in the competition already this season, they need some impetus, Liverpool. If not, this game's going to go by.
I think the Liverpool supporters are annoyed that Tonali has not had to go off the pitch here. Here is the corner to be taken over on the far side. Tonali has been allowed to mark Salah at the far post. The ball is drifted into the penalty area, headed away by Byrne. Good strong header away by Byrne. Picked up by Szoboszlai, a little bit deeper now by the halfway line, and then gives it to Jones and then gets it back again, the Hungarian, who just stumbles slightly and just invited a bit of pressure from Barnes, but managed to hold off the attentions of the former Leicester man and feed it into the path of Jones. Jones back out wide to the left. Collected now by Diaz. Diaz back into the centre, and then it's sent towards the edge of the area and picked up by Jones again. Wide on the left, it's been converted by Luis Diaz into an inside channel ball. He tries to push it into the path of Jones, and then he himself finds Robertson. Across comes Joe Linton again with a terrific challenge to block the attempt by the Scotsman and divert it behind and away for a corner. Darren Bent.
Curtis Jones has definitely made an impact in this game so far. He's had the opportunity there, which was a great save from Nick Pope, but even now he's getting on the ball. Little runs in behind from Andy Robertson. He's feeding the little passes into that byline as well. He's been the one who's gone on almost like with a point to prove to say, right, I'm going to try and get us back into this game, and he's certainly added that little bit of quality and energy to Liverpool.
Here is the corner to be taken by McAllister. It's deep towards the far post. Pope comes and punches really well. He pushes it well outside the penalty area. It's shuffled backwards towards the halfway line, and now Gravenberch has got it inside the centre circle. He evades the pressure from Alexander Isak, who runs and causes him a bit of grief. It goes wide to the left, and now Szoboszlai, who travels forward, faces up Bruno Guimaraes. Infield it goes, collected by McAllister. Out wide towards the left, and Szoboszlai with a diagonal ball into the box, headed down. Comes to Nunez, and he just can't get it under control. He needed to instinctively finish that, Darren Bent, but he tried to take a touch when there wasn't the possibility of doing so, and it bounced off his shin.
Just hit it. I don't understand why he's trying to be so precise with it. I mean, there to get a touch and get a shot off in that crowded penalty area was always going to be difficult. But as it drops, you just hit it. Instinct will just hit it. And again, Sam, that tells me someone lacking in confidence, because he's trying to be too precise with it. He's trying to get it under control, take his time and finish it. No, you're 7 yards out. Just swing your foot at it. You should hit the target from there. We don't know what could have happened, but you can't take a touch in that area.
What a chance for Darwin Nunez to get Liverpool on the score sheet. Jones has had a good opportunity, saved by by Nick Pope as well. But it's Newcastle on the attack. They lead by 2-0 in the cup final. A back heel by Bruno Guimaraes doesn't come off. It's half cleared by it's come back towards Tonali from Isak, and then tries to play it out wide towards the left. That was really dangerous from Liverpool, who made a mess of clearing it. And again, Newcastle have won it back, edge of the area. It's Guimaraes to Barnes to Isak. It's saved by Kelleher, and that might just have kept Liverpool in the cup final. They've given the ball away on the edge of the penalty area, and they've done it again. Cher now picking it up, moving towards the edge of the box, right-footed shot wide of the goal, and Liverpool are on the back foot again, and they don't look comfortable, and Newcastle are making sure they are uncomfortable.
That's an incredible save from Kelleher, but the ball from Guimaraes to Harvey Barnes, and Harvey Barnes does everything right. He just leaves it in an area. The only thing he'd say is probably it's a little bit behind Isak, because I think if it's in front of him, he scores a 3-0 game over. It's a great run. He just tries to leave it in an area, and it's slightly behind him, Isak, which is why he has to, in the middle of the 6-yard box, like swivel on it and try and get something on it. If it's in front of him, he puts it in the empty net.
There is a Premier League match which is happening tonight. Kicks off 7 o'clock. We'll keep you updated with Alan Pardew and Majestic on the phone-in after we finish here. And Ian Stringer's got the team news.
Yes, Onana starts this evening. Sam, talk of illness. He starts in goal for Manchester United, as does Højlund for the Red Devils. The Foxes unchanged from the side that lost at Chelsea. Hermansen in goal with Thomas, Cody and Fassa back 3. Christensen and Justin, the wing-back. Samari and Ndidi in the middle. El Kanous, Daka and Vardy. As for Manchester United, 3 changes to the side that beat Sociedad. Onana does start in goal. Mazraoui, De Ligt and Heaven, with Lindelof coming in. Dalot as well. Eriksen's one of the 3 changes. Fernandes, Ugarte, Garnacho and Højlund. Leicester City against Manchester United.
Let's go down to the touchline. Alex Crook is watching on as Joe Linton says he needs some treatment.
Yeah, not just him, Sam, because Alexander Isak is down on his haunches inside the Liverpool half of the field as well. Obviously, Isak had been carrying a knock in the last few weeks. Both players are going to receive some treatment. Eddie Howe, meanwhile, is deep in conversation with Bruno Guimaraes just in front of me. And Tonali is also being patched up by the Newcastle doctor after that earlier collision with his own teammates. So at the moment, the pitch out there is resembling a scene from Casualty as far as Newcastle are concerned.
Yeah, and I'm not sure they mind too much about delaying the restart, Darren Bent.
Yeah, the dark arts have started already, aren't we? What, 65 minutes in, they're starting to go down already. But I mean, Joe Linton, I mean, no one can point that finger at him, because he's been outstanding defensively and offensively, getting up the pitch, carrying the ball, but then getting himself back into positions to get blocks in, getting his arm across people, stopping them from running. He's been fantastic, I think, today.
Newcastle United lead by 2-0 in the cup final. 1969, the last time they won a trophy. Man had just walked on the moon, so Matt Busby had just retired as Manchester United manager. The Rally Chopper bike was launched You had one of those, Lee, did you?
I did actually, Sam, yeah.
You might, yeah. I had one too. Leeds had just won the league, and colour television was launched on a regular basis. How Newcastle would love it today if everything went back to black and white. There's going to be a change here. Gakpo coming on, and who's come off? It's McAllister who's come off, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Alexis McAllister's come off here. I mean, Gakpo...
It's another change in the way that they're going to approach it, doesn't it, Darren?
Well, they're throwing more men forward, it looks like to me. Curtis Jones is going to have to just sit. Gakpo from the left, and it's almost like going to be a two, isn't it? It's going to be Gakpo from the left and then Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez like through the middle.
Interesting to see how that shapes up. Jones will have to be a lot deeper than Szoboszlai, I think. Be interesting. I'm still a little bit sort of head scratched about the fact that they've got Gravenberch at centre half, having played much further forward. Yeah, they don't really have anybody else really. I mean, Endo has played there for Liverpool. Cody Gakpo has got 9 League Cup goals. Can he get one today? Ball in towards the edge of the penalty. Oh, it's cut out brilliantly. And now a chance to break for Newcastle. And Tonali is leading the charge. Isak is back on the pitch. He wants to play it towards this right-hand side. Isak has got it, edge of the penalty area. Now Joel Linton. It's a little bit too much for him. Too heavy. The touch by Isak. And it goes behind and into the side netting because he just couldn't drag it back. What a chance.
Yeah, bad ball from Tonali. I think because he didn't get enough pace on it as well, Isak almost had to wait for it, and then he tried to roll Joe Linton in, but that's where Liverpool are going to be susceptible to that break, because they're going to have to throw more men forward. It looks like they've got a front four now that's playing up there, and if you're Newcastle, you've just got to be patient.
When they were on the counter-attack there, should John Brooks have called on Alexander Isak to join the attack?
I didn't think so. I mean, they had two. They had Joe Linton come from this side and Alexander Isak coming in from this side, so I'm surprised Liverpool didn't say something about it. Arnie stopped screaming at him, because...
Let's find out if he did say something about it, Alex Crook.
He was absolutely furious, Sam, and I've got to say, I understand why. I'm only a few yards away from where Isak almost snuck on. Newcastle was short-handed. Liverpool was short-handed as a result of him being off the pitch. If they'd have scored there, I think Arne Slot might have self-combusted.
By the way, do you know what a rally chopper is, Darren Ben?
Does it look like a BMX?
I knew you wouldn't know. Here is Trippier. You're just too young, aren't you? That's the problem.
You wouldn't be trying double whoopsies on a chopper, that's for sure.
Here is Barnes. The ball's got on the wrong side. He sets it back up for Isak, but he doesn't quite get it right, and Cher was arriving too. But again, another opportunity goes a begging, but they won it back high up with Murphy. Murphy, edge of the area, left-footed, just wide of the right hand upright. But Liverpool keep giving the ball away, Darren Ben, on the edge of their penalty area, and Newcastle are failing to profit from it.
The problem is Liverpool are leaving 5 up. At any given moment, they're leaving 5 players up, and that's just leaving space for Newcastle. Every single time they win the ball, it's one pass, and they're in at Liverpool's back line.
Ball out over on the right-hand side, collected by Diaz. It's going to be... Well, they're going to have to go for it now. They've got 20 minutes. They've got to throw caution to the wind here, Liverpool. They really have struggled to get into this game. They've had one shot on target in the entire match. They trailed by 2-0. They just haven't looked themselves. Here is Gakpo, wide on the left, moving towards the edge of the box. A right-footed ball straight into the arms of Nick Pope, and he will deal with that sufficiently. Well, nobody has won the League Cup more than Liverpool. They know how to do it better than anybody else, but so far today, they have looked a little bit like rabbits in headlights. Newcastle came out all guns blazing, really took the game to Liverpool right from the very beginning. And since the moment we kicked off here, there's really only been one force for attack in the game, and it hasn't been Liverpool, which is, I suppose, a bit of a surprise. It can be such a great platform for greater things, the League Cup. Chelsea under Mourinho used it that way. Klopp and Pep used it that way too. It can also give you a rare shot at glory, which is the story of Birmingham City, of Middlesbrough and Swansea City, and maybe, just maybe, Newcastle United in 20 minutes' time, if they can hold on to this advantage. Ball is away to our right. Maybe it's a platform for them to go on to greater things as well.
Potentially, Trent, as you said there, the last 3 times they've got to Wembley, I mean, you go back to 2 years ago when they lost to United, and even earlier up, 96, I think it was 98, losing to Arsenal, and then Manchester United.
99,
yeah, losing to those two. Didn't score a goal in either of those last 3 finals we just spoke about. The fact they're 2 up now, I mean, they've got a great platform to work from. And there's Joe Linton again, working hard, winning the ball off Curtis Jones. He's been outstanding. He's been Newcastle's best player for me.
It's been absolutely terrific. And when he managed to get fit enough to play in that game against Brighton, I thought, if he's available for the final of the Carabao Cup, then there's every chance they've got an opportunity to try and win it, because his physicality, his energy has been so integral to Newcastle, and that blend in midfield that they've got of Tonali, Joel Linton and Bruno Guimaraes, absolutely vital this season. Again, they're winning every ball in midfield at the moment. Guimaraes just got away from Gakpo and then fouled by Szoboszlai. Going to be a free kick 18 yards back from the edge of the penalty area on this right-hand side. And Liverpool getting frustrated, getting animated, getting upset with the decisions that have gone against them, and they're going to have to make another couple of changes here, and they're going to bring on 2 new players to enter the fray. One of those, Harvey Elliott, which Lee Clark has been saying he thinks they need here, and the other change is going to be Federico Chiesa, who hasn't really offered much this season. Lee Clark.
Yeah, Chiesa hasn't played a lot. Harvey, I mean, he's got to be one of the most frustrated players this season. He's a super talent. He hasn't had a lot of game time this year at any level in terms of Premier League or Carabao or Champions League. So yeah, he'll want to get on, give them a bit of energy, as Darren said, give them a bit of impetus and thrust up the top end of the pitch. But you know, Newcastle are creating more the better opportunities because they're hitting them on the break with these, when Liverpool are opening up at the back by sending players forward.
They certainly are, and they've just actually made a bit of an error here in that they tried to rush the set piece and thread it down the right hand side for Isak. It didn't quite come off for them and it was cleared away, but again they're quick to the second ball, and as a result of that they have won it back. But now they've given it to Darwin Nunez, the forward who's coming up on the right hand side, gives it to Kwanzaa plays it out towards the left and looking for Gakpo. He's overhit it, and that's kind of been the story of the day, I'm afraid, Darren Bent, for Liverpool, who haven't looked their usual selves, their usual vibrant self. We've hardly seen Mo Salah in the game at all.
Well, I don't think I've seen a quiet period for Mo Salah. I know he got the 2 goals against Southampton, but the 2 legs against PSG didn't look like himself. He's not looked like himself today. Hasn't really got himself into the game. I know with Mo Salah it's always about moments. I mean, he might not do anything now for 72 minutes, 73 minutes, but you give him 2 opportunities, he walks away with 2 goals. But even Liverpool in attack, since Curtis Jones come on, yeah, they've looked a little bit better, but I think Luis Diaz has been quite poor today, really quiet. Darwin Nunez has come on, hasn't really done much. Cody Gakpo's trying to get on the ball, but the ball's been overhit to him and he's not really had an opportunity to drive with it either. So it's been a really poor performance from Liverpool.
Yeah, they put the wrong number up for Harvey Elliott, but he is on the pitch, Alex Crook.
He is indeed. Harvey Elliott is on. Federico Chiesa as well. Ryan Gravenberch is one of the players who's made way for Liverpool. Luis Diaz the other. And here's a stat for you, Sam. I know you love a stat as far as Newcastle are concerned. The last 5 trophies they've won in their history don't even exist anymore.
Oh dear. Ball kick clear over the halfway line, and it's collected now by Bruno Guimaraes on halfway. The free kick is given against him after he collides with Gakpo. I'm just trying to work out really how Liverpool are going to play now, because they've only got Jarell Quansah, Van Dijk and Robertson as out-and-out defenders. Are they going to go to a back 3 with those 3, or is Curtis Jones really going to play centre-half alongside Van Dijk?
No, I think they'll just go 3 at the back. I mean, Virgil will fancy himself against Alexander Isak 1v1, and that's what we're going to have to do now. I mean, you're talking about just over 15 minutes left. You're going to have to go man for man. There's no point having a back 4 and having 2 spare and no one getting up the pitch. They need goals. So the only way you can do that is by committing more men forward and trying to get more men into the box.
15 minutes to go. Here's Szoboszlai, edge of the penalty area. 2-0 down to Newcastle. Here's Quansah playing it far side to the right. Now it's with Salah jinking his way down the touchline, trying to get the cross in. It comes off the defender and goes behind and away for a corner kick to Liverpool. There haven't been too many of them to shout about either. It's their 4th of the game.
No, it hasn't. Mo Salah's not really been able to get involved in the game. Not had no shots on target, no shots on goal. He's been kind of been on the edge of the game as well. They've tried to get the ball in those areas. He hasn't seen too much of it.
Corner far side, Elliott's going to take it. The replacement in this second half. Places the ball down, looks to send it in left-footed. It's an arcing delivery. Pope's going to come, gets enough on it just to steer it away from any on-comer, and the ball goes out on the near side and away for a Liverpool throw. They want to get things moving so quickly and urgently. Szoboszlai throws it into Robertson. 2-0 to Newcastle United. Isak and Byrne with the goals. Into the box it goes. Headed away first by Cher, who sort of helped it on, and then Livramento got it further clear outside the box. Chiesa teeing the ball up in towards the near post, headed away by Cher, picked up by Guimaraes, and now they are allowed to escape despite the suggestions of handball. It's sent into the other side of the pitch, into the Liverpool half, and Robertson timed his run brilliantly to get there ahead of Isak, who thought for a moment he was going to outpace the Scotsman, but that was excellent from Andy Robertson.
That's what I thought as well. I thought Isaac had way too much pace for him, but Andy Robertson put the burners on there and managed to get himself into position and get his arm across against Alexander Isak. But I just wonder if Callum Wilson now, maybe he's going to get an opportunity, because Isak's run himself into the ground. He's got his goal. I think he's led the line really, really well. Hasn't really got much change out of Virgil van Dijk, but it doesn't matter because he's on the score sheet. I wonder if it's now Callum Wilson's turn.
There's only 14 minutes to go. Do you really want to take him off with 14 minutes to go on what could be the greatest day in living memory for Newcastle United? Well, we'll see what happens over the course of that 14 minutes. There'll be agonising minutes for those Newcastle fans who have waited so long to win a trophy they can wait 14 minutes more. Surely they're on the verge of history that many thought might never come, but Eddie Howe has certainly put them in a terrific position to achieve something almost unimaginable just 3 or 4 years ago when they were fighting to stay in the Premier League. Picked up by Szoboszlai for Liverpool. Have got to try and claw a 2-goal deficit to stay in the cup final. Flicked on by Chiesa at the near post, away by Livramento. And then from the edge of the penalty area, stretching to head it clear, the Newcastle defender Kieran Trippier, who has managed to get through more minutes than we maybe anticipated when he pulled up in the first half. A switch of play from right to left, taken down by Liverpool's Gakpo into Chiesa, who thinks he was fouled by Bruno Guimaraes. Goes down, wants a free kick. He's going to get one right on the corner of the penalty area.
I think he's lucky there because it was a bad touch from him in the first place. Couldn't quite get it under control, and Bruno Guimaraes goes to ground, and I'm not quite sure it's a foul. And even Bruno Guimaraes is saying to the referee, "Come on, that's not a foul." I think he won the ball quite clearly there. Maybe not, but looking at that replay, so yeah, referee.
Good job you're not a ref, is it?
Spot on, ref.
It's a free kick to Liverpool, and rightly so. 4 yards outside the penalty area. Wide on the left, Gakpo and Szoboszlai standing over it. 2-0 to Newcastle United. We've got just 12 minutes to go. Good delivery in by Szoboszlai. Powerful, towering header by the muscular and tall Dan Burn. Heads it away to safety. Back towards the halfway line. Robertson sends it forward again. Lands inside the box for Chiesa to try and turn on the ball. He's on the left side of the area. Back wide to Gakpo now. Gakpo trying to turn it infield. Collected by Elliott. Now it's with Szoboszlai, who's robbed of possession too easily. Then he wins it back again off Isak before Newcastle can escape. All the play now happening away to our left, and the area in which Liverpool are attacking. Slid in towards Chiesa by Elliott. A low ball which he takes into his body, but Livramento and Cher come across and deal with it and get it away.
It's a fantastic ball into his feet from Harvey Elliott there. He just spots a little angle, then Chiesa pulls off into a really nice area just on the penalty spot. But his first touch is good, but then, as you said there, Fabian Schär gets himself back in and makes the block, and it goes up for a throw-on.
Cher, brilliant. The way he anticipated that and nabbed it and cleared it away. 33 years of age now, such an experienced defender. Fabian Schär scored the dramatic equaliser in the 3-3 in December between these two. Virgil van Dijk looking frustrated. Liverpool frustrated by a very well-drilled and organised Newcastle United team who lead by 2-0, and we're approaching the final 10 minutes of the game. Into the box, the ball goes from the right-hand side from Liverpool. Headed away by Burn. Collected by Salah. Over on the far side. Trying to get into the box now. It's back towards the right edge of the area, and Jones shuffles it backwards into the path of Robertson. Robertson, the Scotsman, feeds the ball to the Italian with long sleeves on. Chiesa sort of went to engage with Bruno Guimaraes, got a bit of contact from the Brazilian, and then gave the ball back to the right side. Jones has got it inside the area. He's ballooned that over the top of the box after Elliott had played him in, down the right-hand side, and it goes over the top of the crossbar. Isak has gone down, and maybe Callum Wilson's time is now. Alex Crook.
It certainly is, Sam. Callum Wilson about to come on for Isak, and just to give you an idea of how loud it is down at pitchside, I'm right next to the Newcastle fans to the right. Graham Jones, one of the backroom staff, had to pretty much run to where the subs were warming up away to the left to call Callum Wilson back, because Callum Wilson couldn't hear him amongst the Newcastle faithful. They're going to make 2 changes. Joe Willock coming on as well. Harvey Barnes, who I think's had an excellent game, obviously in for the suspended Anthony Gordon. I understand he's going to be the player making way.
Yep. Off comes Alexander Isak to acclaim having scored a goal in a cup final. Goal, would you believe it, so far this season, number 23 for Alexander Isak. Callum Wilson comes on looking for his 50th Newcastle goal. Imagine if he got that here at Wembley today. 10 minutes to go. Isak coming off and Joe Willock coming on, and he's going to replace him. We get confirmation of it. We think Harvey Barnes, who's now travelling towards this near side, and that is indeed who it's going to be. And Joe Willock, who lost the Europa League final with Arsenal and the 2023 League Cup final with Newcastle United. Does have a winner's medal of sorts. He was part of the Arsenal squad. He was on the bench, an unused substitute in the FA Cup final of 2020. And he certainly has been a big part of the Newcastle journey over the last few years. Certainly limited to more auxiliary roles recently, but when he first arrived, he turned up and basically saved them from relegation.
Yeah, scored all those goals towards the end of the season, didn't he? He was fantastic, and I mean, what an opportunity for himself now to be involved in this cup final now. At the minute, looks like they're going to be winning this game as well. But even for Callum Wilson, because I remember when Isak first turned up as well, it was almost like Eddie Howe didn't know how to use the two of them.
Isak has gone down the tunnel. Ball played out to Willock down the left-hand side. He's got Wilson waiting in the centre. Newcastle not deciding to commit too many bodies forward here as they come forward in the attack. Joel Linton gets to the edge of the area. A right-footed shot in towards the near corner, and it almost caught out Kelleher, who went down to his right, went wide of his goal, and out for a goal kick away to our right. Still 2-0 to Newcastle.
Yeah, great play there from Joe Linton, again using his physicality, getting into an area. A lovely little 1-2 there, and I mean, at the end there, just can't hit the target. And it's a lovely little touch from Bruno Guimaraes as well. But as he gets to just the edge of the box on that left-hand side, just can't quite hit the target.
Here is Tonali bringing the ball down 5 yards outside the box. A right-footed shot fumbled by Kelleher. No one there to follow up. I just wondered if that was the right choice from Tonali, because he got himself into a good position, almost fortunately, and then he didn't really make the most of it. There was opportunities to play, and now they do play, with Livramento down the left, getting towards the edge of the penalty area. His right-footed shot hit an arm, did it? Well, it comes off a defender and goes behind and out for a corner kick, but it looked for all the world as if Jarell Quansah stuck his arm out and maybe hit the top of the shoulder of Jones, and then it goes out for a corner kick, and Jones rather sheepishly walks back to his own goal. But certainly initially I think it was because the arm went out at the same time as it hit the side of Jones's shoulder. It looked as if it might have caught the fingers of Quansah. But here is the corner to be taken over on the far side. Another Newcastle United corner. They lead by 2-0. Dan Burn has already scored from one this afternoon. Here is the delivery. It's deep towards the far post. It's being watched by Quansah now, which is probably a little bit too little too late. The ball's been headed on towards Wilson inside the area, turning and volleying. But after the ball came down from Willock, who recycled it, he shot it over the top of the crossbar and quite some distance over the top too.
Yeah, like you can understand what he's trying to do, just swiveling it and trying to hit the target. But I mean, again, Liverpool from set plays, leaving someone at the back post completely free. If they get that delivery right again, it's another attempt on goal. Liverpool just haven't dealt well at all with Newcastle set plays today.
Well, Newcastle United gunning for a European Champions League place and gunning for their first trophy in 56 years, their first domestic trophy in 70 years. They are 7 and a bit minutes away, in fact 6 and a bit minutes away now. Liverpool 12 points clear at the top of the Premier League, but they don't look as if they're going to win this competition. Cleared away by Bruno Guimaraes, who celebrates as if that is a tackle that might win a cup final. He clears it up over the halfway line. Jones sends it back wide towards the left. So much anguish and anticipation in the run-up to this final for Newcastle United. Newcastle United, a city that has been starved of success, a club that's been starved of success, are on the verge of something absolutely almost unbelievable, really, because when you think that when Eddie Howe walked in the door, he was just about taking over a team that were heading for relegation, and they fought to stay in the Premier League. The next season he led them to the Champions League. He took them to the 2023 League Cup final. Yes, they didn't manage Europe last season, but only because Manchester United won the FA Cup. They still finished inside the top 7, and now, with the idea still possible that they can get into the Champions League, they might be about to end their long trophy drought. Ball headed away by Gakpo from the goal kick from Nick Pope. It comes back to halfway. Cher will wait and just allow the ball to go back. There was a push there in the back, so a free kick is going to be given for Liverpool on halfway, and we'll reset with now 5 minutes to go.
I mean, I thought Liverpool would commit more men forward. As you can see, there's 4 basically in the line, and their midfield has become non-existent. They're more now number 10s and attackers, and Virgil van Dijk still back there trying to hold the fort together. But I mean, Liverpool going forward just haven't offered anything. Curtis Jones has come and done really, really well, but other than him, it's been next to nothing.
Eddie Howe about to achieve something no English manager has achieved since Harry Redknapp, his former boss, in 2008, in charge of Portsmouth. winning a major trophy as an English manager in charge of a Premier League club. Newcastle's tactical approach has been brilliant. The great Chris Waddle was on our programme earlier on today, and he said he wanted them to go on the front foot from the very beginning. That was the way to do it, and they did exactly that. And they are on the verge of victory and history here at Wembley. Ball kicked clear by Tonali, won by Jones. Jones for Liverpool moves the ball down the right. Desperation about Liverpool, but they haven't tested Pope enough in the game. Back to Elliott, then on to Jones again. And then infield to Elliott. Elliott back towards Quansah. Liverpool being kept at arm's length by Newcastle United. Van Dijk stings forward. Wide to the left, it's on to Gakpo. Gakpo to the edge of the penalty area now. He's being harassed by Tonali and pushed further back by Tonali. There's stunned Liverpool supporters away to our left. They can't quite believe what they're seeing here from their team. There's a couple of them throwing scarves in the air, throwing their hands in the air. They can't believe that Newcastle really haven't been. I mean, look, they've defended stoutly, but they haven't been tested enough. One shot on target by the Champions-elect League club.
Yeah, superb performance from Newcastle, Sam. I've been a bit quiet for the last 5 minutes because just in awe, just so proud of these lads. And you mentioned about Eddie. He came into the club and down the bottom of the Premier League table. He came into a football club that was broken. He came into a club that was a mess. The new ownership group had just came in and took over. They made the best appointment they've made, the best signing they've made since they came in, appointing him as the manager, and he's just took this club on to unbelievable things in his time here. And hopefully in the next few minutes he's going to be rewarded with, that trophy, and it'll be the old famous words, where do you want your statue, Eddie Howe?
Here is Murphy down the right-hand side as Liverpool press forward, but he clears. He's got cramp now and he needs some help. Chiesa's coming the other way for Liverpool on the attack in the final few minutes. We've got 2 and a bit minutes still to play. Live on Talksport. It's Liverpool 0, Newcastle United 2. Liverpool about to lose in the final of the Carabao Cup. The ball into the box. It goes wide of the 6-yard box, and then I think maybe it went behind and out for a goal kick. It could have even been an offside there. It's given in Newcastle's favour, and Murphy drops to the floor, having given everything, and Sean Longstaff is about to come on to replace someone. Burns gone down, stretching out. Livramento's hobbling over on the far side, which is bad news for England. Trippier somehow has managed remarkable powers of recovery to get back up and move throughout the course of this game. He's done brilliantly to stick in with it. Longstaff coming on now for Murphy as one of the changes, and there's a bit of movement in the tunnel as well, because I think I saw Anthony Gordon, Alex Crook.
You did indeed, Sam. Well spotted. So did the Newcastle fans. They were singing his name. Mixed emotions, I would imagine, of course, suspended for this cup final. But he's like a coiled spring. It's a hive of activity just to my right at the mouth of the tunnel. Anthony Gordon very much is going to be part of the celebrations. I feel like we're going to have one big Geordie party in a few minutes' time.
Absolutely. Newcastle have lost to Liverpool in a cup final before. 1974. They've also lost cup finals to City, United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs. They've lost games here at Wembley. 9 visits to Wembley since they last won here in 1955. But tonight, under the Wembley arch, Newcastle are going to crush that Wembley curse. They're into the final minute here on Talksport. Emil Kraft is coming on to replace Murphy. He's going to be the one that comes on here. And although the Liverpool supporters are singing "You'll Never Walk Alone," it's certainly going to be a black and white day here at Wembley tonight, because there's no coming back surely now, with 30 seconds of normal time to go and only injury time to play. It's so unlike Liverpool. Back-to-back defeats for the first time in a year. They need that international break, you think, just to get themselves going again. I'm sure Newcastle United, well, they're going to need the international break to get over a hangover, which is going to last for a very long time. Certainly there'll be 1 or 2 in this commentary box that might end up feeling that way. Mentioning no names, Lee Clark. Throwing over on the far side. The minutes and seconds tick away. Newcastle minutes away from becoming the 24th team to win the League Cup. Alex Crook, did I see that right? How many minutes are added on?
You saw it right. Jason Tyndall saw it right, because the Newcastle assistant manager is right in the ear of the 4th official, asking how. 8 added minutes. They've waited 7 decades for a domestic title. What difference is 8 minutes going to make?
Well, it might make a lot if Liverpool scored twice in that 8 minutes. I mean, that's a hell of a lot for not very much that has gone on during the course of the 90. Here's Kraft, though, trying to steer the ball into Wilson. Wilson inside the penalty area, and Quansah just gets in front of him and guides it back to Kelleher, and that was a great chance for Wilson. I think Darren Bent, as a striker, on any other day when you're a little bit less ring rusty, that might have been a golden chance for Wilson.
Certainly for someone of his quality, because we've seen him throughout the year score goals, and I think the ball comes from him, and his first touch just got away from him a little bit, and then he would have liked to have got the shot off, but didn't manage to do it. But it was a great play from Kraft on this right hand side.
Well, we've got 8 added minutes. We played just one of them. Quansah coming forward. The Newcastle fans start twirling those scarves, those black and white scarves. There's a red flare that's been let off away to our left, but Newcastle have the ball. They've picked it up off Gakpo. There's a push by Gakpo. Going to ground is Bruno Guimaraes, and it's going to be a free kick on halfway. And if this doesn't take 2.5 minutes to take, well, I'll be incredibly surprised.
By the way, the energy levels of the midfield three has been phenomenal for Newcastle. Bruno there winning the free kick, but winning the ball back. Him, Joe Linton and Tonali, we mentioned it at the start, being absolutely outstanding.
They've run all over Liverpool's midfield three. The guys with Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, McAllister, whoever they've had in there at that time, Curtis Jones has come on. Those three have ran. They've used their physicality. They've drawn fouls. They've been a bit naughty when they're supposed to. It's been outstanding from Newcastle.
Willett bursting down the left, sending a ball into the centre of the penalty area, but he didn't catch it right, and it went behind and away and out for a goal kick away to our right-hand side. Eddie Howe comes out and tries to gesticulate to get his team back into position. Jason Tyndall there as well. Graham Jones, Stephen Purchase, all part of a very long journey for Newcastle United. So many connections between those on the coaching staff that have gone back decades, years. And of course, big connections between some of these Newcastle players and this football club. Longstaff, a boyhood fan. Byrne, a boyhood fan. And they've got to defend and see out the next 5.5 minutes of added time. Ball into the box towards Van Dijk, onto Gakpo, who turns, shoots. Now it's with Nunez, brings the ball down, shoots. It's blocked by Cher. In front of the defender is Bruno Guimaraes, who gets it away, and somehow it's scrambled clear. And Joel Linton, using his physicality to hold off Szoboszlai, leads the charge towards the other end. Elliott beats Bruno Guimaraes to the ball. Now Chiesa has been played in behind. He slipped it under the goalkeeper. The offside flag is up to deny Liverpool what could be a consolation goal and maybe a way back in. John Brooks is consulting with his VAR. Chiesa is celebrating. Federico Chiesa, who's only played 373 minutes, thought he'd scored a goal to get them back into the cup final, but the referee and the linesman have conspired to say it was offside.
Oh, he's not. He's onside. He's onside.
He's on. He's on.
I think he's onside.
He is on. You're right, Darren. He's onside.
It's a fantastic finish. Great ball from Harvey, and
he's
again
onside,
threading it, and then using his right foot just inside the area, and then using his left to just guide it under the goalkeeper. Really good finish.
Well,
he's onside.
Federico Chiesa has scored one goal for Liverpool. He is about to score another one, and it's going to set up the most nervous 4 minutes that Newcastle United supporters have ever faced. Liverpool about to hear that they have scored in the cup final. Chiesa looks over towards the near side. John Brooks is waiting. Joel Linton is appealing, suggesting that he wants to get the decision confirmed, but I don't think it's going to be, because Stuart Atwell, I think, is going to inform him that that is onside and the goal is going to be given, and John Brooks is about to tell everybody inside this stadium that that is the case. Let's listen in and see what he's going to have to say here, because he can give announcements in the Carabao Cup. Is he going to address us on the PA? It should be given here, unless there is another infringement in the build-up to the goal. Was there a foul in the build-up? That's what they're looking at now. Elliott on Bruno Guimaraes. I don't think there was. We're still having a significant delay here. And John Brooks is just waiting. He's now going to blow his whistle. He's overturned it.
After review, the Liverpool number 14 is onside, and the final decision is a goal.
It's confirmation from the referee. The goal has been given. It's 2-1 to Newcastle. There's 3 minutes plus whatever else is
going to be added on as well for Liverpool to get an equaliser. Darren Bent, drama at the end.
This drama, it's a great finish from Chiesa. Composure, he's been the only one who's come on and shown that composure when he's got in the box, and it was a great ball from Harvey Elliott, and Ivan Needle, he just threads it through, he takes one touch into the box, and as Nick Pope comes out, he just uses his left foot and guides it to the keeper's left hand side across goalkeeper. It's a fantastic finish by Chiesa, and he's come on and he's shown real energy, real impetus to run in behind, and now it's game on.
Eddie Howe can't believe it. He shakes his head. He waits. Well, it wouldn't be Newcastle if there wasn't late drama, if there wasn't nervousness, if there wasn't tension. Van Dijk's gone up front. Chiesa is up there too. I'm not entirely sure who's playing in the back line, but I don't think Liverpool really care. They want to somehow try desperately to get back into this cup final. And Liverpool have a habit of causing grief late on. They score so many goals in the second half of games. And they've scored one here. Wilson trying to urge his team over the line, getting the support from the Newcastle crowd. The last time they won a cup final was against Hungary's Újpesti Dusra. Can they beat Liverpool? Can they hold on for the final few seconds? There's only 90 seconds left of the allotted added time, but there will be at least another 2 minutes on top of that because of the VAR delay for Chiesa's goal. Chiesa scoring in stoppage time has really set the cat amongst the pigeons at Wembley. In the final exchanges here live on Talksport, it's Newcastle United who lead by 2-1. Wilson throws the ball away down by the corner flag to delay the restart once again. It's a throw-in on the near touchline. It's a yellow card for Wilson as a result of those efforts. It's going to be actually a throw-in to Newcastle United, which Kraft is going to take his time over. It's right down inside the Liverpool half. Look at those Newcastle fans, so tense, so concerned, fingernails bitten to the quick, nerves jangling all over the place. They can't quite believe they're in this situation, having bossed this encounter for so long. Bruno Guimaraes kicks the ball away. They restart down inside the Liverpool half. Liverpool fans want it sent forward, and sent forward very quickly. The ball is hoisted up towards Van Dijk, headed away by Cher. He drops for Bruno Guimaraes. Now Tonali. He's got Willock to his left-hand side. He's trying to poke it out in that direction. Willock takes over. He tries to get down the left and take it away from Quansah. They're by the corner flag, Newcastle, holding on to possession, running down the clock, kicking the ball against the Liverpool defender and winning a corner over on the far side.
Well played, Joe Willock there, because he's gone down there. They're trying not to foul him, and he manages to keep his balance, just swivel on it and try and get the ball in the box, and it comes off Jarrell Quansah. It's really good play, first of all from Tonali, breaking up play and driving with it again, 40-50 yards, as we spoke about all afternoon. Tonali, Guimaraes, Joe Linton, those three in the middle of the park have been absolutely outstanding.
Alexander Isak is out watching from the sidelines. He can't wait. He can't believe what he's watching. The Newcastle bench are all standing up, arms around each other's shoulders. They want the whistle to go, but the whistle isn't going to go just yet. We've played 98 minutes and 37 seconds. This is Talksport. It's 2-1 to Newcastle United in the Carabao Cup final. And what a cup final it has been. Here is Willock on the far side, playing against Quansah. Another throw-in down by the corner flag over on the far side. Newcastle on the verge of victory. Newcastle on the verge of their first trophy since 1959 and the 1969 and the European Fairs Cup. Their first domestic trophy since 55 in the offing. Can they do it? Can they hold on? It's up to Wilson from the throw-in, holding it in the corner once again, keeping it as far away from the goal away to our left as possible, keeping
Where's the
Liverpool
ball?
at arm's length. Eventually it emerges from the scrum over on the far side. It's poked back into the penalty area, and now Liverpool have got it, and they quickly look to attack. They attack through Szoboszlai. Is there a late goal from the champions-elect here? Salah, who's done not very much, takes it out of the sky, then sweeps the ball forward to Van Dijk, away to Cher. It's picked up and sent forward towards Wilson, who's running into green grass inside the Liverpool half. He's got three alongside him. He can finish it, but he's not going to. He's going to run the clock down and take the ball away into the corner. And I don't know, Darren Bent, if that was the right call on that occasion.
Go for goal. It's 3v1. I would have gone for goal there. If you go 3v1, go for goal, kill the game off, 3-1, game over. The fact that he opted to go for the corner and then gave the ball away, that's now put Newcastle under some massive pressure.
100 minutes have been played. It's a throw-in over on the far side. John Brooks is signalling that the ball's got to go
for a throw-in over on the far side. There's a problem for a Liverpool defender who is down and clutching their face over on the far side. And it's a real problem, actually, for someone who doesn't look particularly comfortable. And from this distance, I can't actually see who that is. I think it's Harvey Elliott over on the far side. It is indeed Harvey Elliott, who's gone down right over in the far corner in front of the Newcastle fans. He's not happy at all. Joel Linton's just sort of smashed into his body, and no one wants to feel the force of the big Brazilian. But they've stolen a few yards here, Liverpool, by getting up the pitch. And actually, as Chiesa throws the ball in from the right side, he's telling Harvey Elliott, get up, we've got a cup final to try and rescue here. Van Dijk heads the ball on. We've played 101 minutes. It's with Wilson, who sends it wide. And Newcastle United have won the Carabao Cup. It's been a long time coming, but this is immortal. Eddie Howe and his Newcastle United players spill onto the pitch, having won the Carabao Cup and stepped into the pantheon of Geordie legends. No more people watching for Newcastle United. They've just scored a major trophy for the first time in 56 years. They've just become winners, and Eddie Howe has entered a category that is oh so rare. It's an English manager that has guided a Premier League team to silverware. The headlines belong to Isaac and Big Dan Burn, and rightly so. The game that needs match winners, and they are certainly that. It's a collective effort, a group effort, a whole club effort. They'll beat detractors, but not for the team. Eddie Howe has not achieved this solely with the injection of cash. Eddie Howe, Jason Tindall, Graham Jones, they have coached their way to this brilliant victory over Liverpool, one of the great teams of the Premier League era, who are about to go and win the Premier League by some distance. But somehow Newcastle have come here with a plan, executed that plan. They've won the Carabao Cup, they've landed a significant prize, and they've landed a return to Europe. Congratulations, Newcastle. The wait is over. Liverpool 1, Newcastle 2.
Well, these Newcastle fans, they are going to be celebrating. They've had a rough, tough journey there to put up with an owner who didn't care, who didn't respect them, didn't realise what he owned. A football club with a huge fan base, a brilliant city centre stadium, rich history, and a desperate desire to be competitive, to be successful, to win trophies. Those fans couldn't even love their club the way they wanted to. And now, look at them. The club was taken over. They brought in Eddie Howe 4 years later, less than 4 years later. Here we are at Wembley with the Newcastle captain about to lift a trophy. And I've never seen him so happy. Eddie Howe, take a bow. They've got the Angel of the North. Well, Eddie Howe is now the darling of the North East. Well, the black and white corner anyway. And what about the goal scorers? Talk about local hero, Dan Burn. Alexander Isak, the goal machine right now. They've had so many of them down the years, haven't they? Shearer, Ferdinand, Mickey Quinn, Warjacki. Alexander Isak with a brilliant finish for the second goal, and they needed that second goal as well. And I'm just wondering about Dan Burn, actually. They've got statues at St James Park for Jackie Milburn, Alan Shearer and Sir Bobby Robson. Is there enough marble in the world to build a life-size statue of Dan Burn, I wonder? Wow, what an afternoon this has been for every Newcastle United fan. I'm glad Sam mentioned the coaching staff there, because Jason Tindall in particular, he's often seen as a figure of fun, but him and Stephen Purchase, I believe, are responsible for the set pieces, and set pieces did for Liverpool in this game. The midfield trio overrunning Liverpool in this game. This is where this was all won. Set pieces in midfield. They finished their chances as well. And Lee Clark, a Geordie boy, a Newcastle fan, a former Newcastle player. How are you feeling?
Immense. Unbelievable day, Ed. Unbelievable day. These guys, you just mentioned them, the manager, his staff, the players, they've given us fans a day we'll never forget. The day we've been waiting for many, many years. They're heroes. They're legends of this club now. There's been, you know, I'm in that bracket. Players mentioned about being legends and we haven't achieved anything. These boys have done it, and it won't have sunk in yet. They're celebrating, but what they've done now for this football club after so long, you mentioned, about statues. Honestly, the manager, he's got to go up there. He's got to do it. He's got to be remembered at the football club, and the group of players will be as well. 70 years domestically. 50. It's just
since 69.
Unbelievable. 69 since any kind of trophy, and just fully deserved as well. Yeah, Liverpool came in the last 15 minutes, but before that, honestly, I think London is going to be full of black and white all week. The fans who couldn't get down and couldn't get tickets, they'll be coming from the northeast to get down here to celebrate, waiting for the team to come back for that open top bus journey. But knowing Eddie the way he is, he'll be getting them refocused after the international break. But Eddie Howe, Jason Tindall, your staff, your players, you've made every one of us Newcastle United fans and us Geordies unbelievably proud today, pal.
And Darren Bent, Eddie Howe, as Sam was saying, the first English manager since Harry Redknapp in 2008 with the FA Cup for Portsmouth, the first English manager to win a trophy. He's methodical, he has plans, he has systems in place, he's so calm, he seems like he doesn't get caught up in the emotion, and it's almost like he's perfect for Newcastle that way.
100%. Even when the final whistle went and everyone went steamrolling onto the pitch, all the coaching staff, he was the one who kind of calmed himself down, went straight over to Arnie Slot, shook his hand, shook the coaching staff, and then enjoyed the moment. I mean, he has been, not only has he handled himself with class, but he's built a Newcastle side now that probably should have won something before now. I mean, you look at what he's assembled. I mean, one of the big decisions I remember him making was putting Joe Linton back into midfield. When everyone had tried him at centre forward and he was getting ridiculed because of his numbers, people said he's not a centre forward, look, he doesn't score that many goals. He put him back into that middle of the park, and ever since then he has been absolutely outstanding for Newcastle, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. But Eddie Howe, I mean, he's incredibly proud. I'm sure it's probably not sunk in for him yet about what he's just achieved for Newcastle Football Club, because we all know Newcastle are a huge football club that have probably not delivered the trophies that they should have done, but with the investment it was about what was the next step. They got into the Champions League, it was like, can they deliver a trophy? He's done that. He's been absolutely outstanding. Him, Jason Tindall, everyone associated to Newcastle Football Club, they deserve this moment. Even going into this game, knowing that Liverpool had played 120 minutes, a lot of people were saying, myself included, I still fancy Liverpool. They didn't give them a sniff. They did not give them a sniff.
Well, they've had some great moments under Eddie Howe. I was there for the 4-1 against PSG. I was there for the semi-finals against Southampton and Arsenal. Big nights for Newcastle United Football Club. This is bigger than anything a lot of these Newcastle fans have ever had in their lifetime. Let's get down there to the celebrations. Alex Crook, what's going on down there?
I'll tell you what, Adrian, talk about contrast down here. To my left, Virgil van Dijk, ashen-faced, stood against the advertising hoardings, Liverpool players just staring at the Newcastle end, which is a sea of black and white celebrations. There are grown men behind me in tears, in true Newcastle style. Many of them have got their tops off, and the Newcastle players and the coaching staff are all gathered over in the far corner, just soaking it all up. Joe Linton went behind the goal and really got the party started. Jason Tindall, unsurprisingly, right at the forefront of it as well. But Darren Bent is dead right. Eddie Howe, before he would even let himself to celebrate this historic victory for Newcastle, went straight to Arne Slot to give his commiserations. And I'll just share you a very small story about Eddie Howe. I interviewed him a few years ago now, and we were talking about his greatest moment as a player, and he picked out a winning penalty that he scored for Bournemouth in the League Cup at Blackburn. Blackburn were then a Premier League side, Bournemouth an EFL team, and he said, crikey, if that's all I've got to look back on, I wasn't much of a player. I tell you what, Eddie Howe, you may not have been in your own self-deprecating style much of a player. You are a hell of a manager.
That's some story. He's got a little bit more to look back on now. Sam Matterface, I know you've worked with Eddie Howe and a lot of the coaching staff in the past, and he deserves this moment of glory, doesn't he?
You know what, there's so many fascinating subplots, and one that might not get too much attention is the closeness of Eddie Howe and the Liverpool hierarchy, Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards. Many moons ago, Richard and Eddie transferred across from Bournemouth to Portsmouth, where they were playing. Spent many years there. Richard played more than Eddie because Eddie was injured, but both really with different levels of success. They were best friends. They would hang out together. They met a SWATI analyst who used Prozone when it was only just coming out, who was on secondment from university. His nickname was Prozone Eddie. That was Michael Edwards. They all had to field questions from an annoying local reporter who was a similar age, and they all went from Pompey on to different things. Edwards, the overlord at Liverpool, Richard Hughes, the technical director at Liverpool, and Eddie at Newcastle. All great successes. Today they meet in the League Cup final, and today Eddie Howe does something that no manager has done since a former Portsmouth manager that signed them all, Harry Redknapp, lifted the FA Cup in 2008, an Englishman winning a domestic trophy.
Football, a very, very small world. Liverpool players are making their way up the steps for their losers' medals. The one thing that's surprising me here in the Talksport commentary position is that Lee Clark, Tapsaf, you've still got your top on, mate. What's going on?
Yeah. Carrying a bit too much timber to take my top off here, to be fair.
Newcastle fans don't mind about that.
Yeah, I think that'll be better. I think he's all clear this area if I do that, yeah.
But listen, they've got every right to strip to the waist right now and throughout the course of the evening. It's what they do when things are going well, and I don't think many of them will have experienced anything quite like the glory, the joy of this. And in many ways, I think this is a result, Lee Clark, that a lot of the nation wanted. Yeah, it's not an anti-Liverpool thing by any stretch of the imagination, but they're going to win the title. They won the League Cup last year. They've perpetually won cups over the years, even though they've not been as glorious as they were in the 80s and the 70s. Liverpool, they have won cups. Newcastle have been desperate just to win something, and finally it's happened. And I think there'll be a lot of neutral support for Newcastle as well.
Absolutely. I think with the exception of Liverpool fans, I think the rest of the country probably wanted Newcastle to do it, and it'll be that reason. Liverpool have won a hell of a lot over the years, as we've talked about on numerous occasions here today. 70 years domestically for this fantastic club. I'm going to be biased, it's my club, grown up watching it since I was 8, but you know what, it is a magnificent club, and it's a magnificent club because of the numbers that come out. Look at the fans here, every single one of them staying because they want this. I've heard so many older people, men and women, they want to see Newcastle pick up a trophy before their time's up, and thankfully that's happening to so many people, youngsters, old ones in there today. It's so special. I don't know what it is. I had some kind of feeling that we could do it. I don't know why, because obviously we're coming up against a great Liverpool team who are doing terrifically well in the Premier League, but I just felt that the vibes I was getting coming from the club, how the players were focused, how they'd gone about their job was just phenomenal, and they were ready to do it. And as we said, from start to finish, the first whistle, they were brilliant in that performance, and they just kind of put into words what they've done for the club, what they've done for the city, what they've done for the area. You know, they're going to be special people who've been involved in Newcastle United.
There's no one hero, they're all heroes.
Absolutely.
They will all be remembered, no doubt about it. And actually what I love about it is somebody like Dan Burn, who's come to the north, back to the northeast, and he's going to be remembered now, legendary hero, for taking part in this, scoring in this. Somebody like Murphy, for example, you know, he's had an unheralded career to a certain extent. He's a Premier League player. I mean, you've got to be in admiration of that. But wow, somebody like Trippier, who's lost all those finals and now finally wins one and deserves it as well.
There's great stories from all of them, mate. I mean, you talk about Murphy, I had him on loan, at Blackpool, and a great kid, talented kid, and he's come here, and his background is his family are Newcastle United fans. Him and his brother, pictures of his twin brother there, donned in Newcastle kit when they were babies. This is a dream for him as well. It's just, there's so many stories for each player. Darren touched on the Joe Linton one, come in, record signing, given the number 9 shirt, pushed up as a striker, could see that wasn't his natural position. Eddie seen something, pushes him in midfield. He's gone from being ridiculed as one of the club's worst ever signings to going to be now being known as one of the club's best ever signings. Absolutely phenomenal, and there's great stories about all the individuals like that.
Indeed. Nick Pope got himself stupidly suspended a couple of years ago. Doesn't get himself suspended this time around, and he is going to pick up a winner's medal. By the way, I did mention, just as the Newcastle players make their way past the Talksport commentary position to go and collect their medals, all of them heading up the steps towards that place where they will pick up the trophy, where they will celebrate. Big Dan Burn is banging on the window. You might just have heard it, banging on the window, saying hello to Lee Clark. Fantastic. Pope just behind him as well. The legend that is Chris Waddle was on Talksport earlier with Alex Crook. I think he predicted a 2-1 Newcastle win. He got it absolutely bang on.
Well, Waddle always had the magic, didn't he? So he's even got the magic to get the right results.
Absolutely. Listen, we're getting ready. Eddie Howe makes his way up the steps as well. How proud must he be feeling right now? Dan Burn is there. Loads of players. Callum Wilson just making his way up the steps. The staff are heading up the steps as well. They're just holding back until they're told to make their way up onto that balcony where they will show off silverware to the Newcastle fans. They can't contain themselves, these Newcastle players, bouncing up and down with pure joy. Absolutely loving it. Let's hear them lift the trophy live on Talksport with Sam Matterface.
Well, it's amazing to think what impact it will have on the club, what impact it will have on the city. Dan Burn collects the Alan Hardaker Trophy as the man of the match today. What impact it will have on him, the fans, the players and the staff, of course, as they walk up the 108 steps to the Royal Box to collect their medals that they have been waiting for years. Kieran Trippier and Bruno Guimaraes lead them up the stairs. Nick Pope, who made a really important save from Curtis Jones, is there as well. Bruno Guimaraes now, who's going to be discussed in the same breath as Bob Moncur. Isaac in the same category as Shearer, Milburn and Malcolm McDonald. It's the kind of evening in which every Toon fan will grab themselves a Newcastle brown owl and celebrate an historic success. They've waited for so long, and over 17 years so many English managers have tried and failed to win a domestic trophy, but the time is Howe's. Eddie Howe walks up the steps to join his troops. The cup goes into the arms. Eddie Howe is the angel of the North. Dan Burn, the local hero. The superstar Swedish striker is Alexander the Great. And Bruno Guimaraes and Kieran Trippier lift the Carabao Cup into the sky. Newcastle United are Wembley winners. The joint captains Guimaraes and Trippier throw it into the air, shove the gleaming silver trophy into the air, and all the colour is drained out of Wembley, because right now the whole place is black and white. The 70-year wait for a domestic trophy is over. 56 years of pain and longing are over. Newcastle's astonishing losing streak at the home of football is over. They are Wembley winners. Yes, finally, Newcastle United are trophy winners.
And congratulations to them as well. Graham Jones, the coach, giving Eddie Howe a little kiss up on the balcony as well. And why not, as Joe Linton lifts the trophy into the sky to show the Newcastle fans, and they respond accordingly. They are going to treasure these moments. This is what football can give you. Yes, kids, yes, you get married, yes, all of that stuff. But this is a moment that will be remembered by every single Newcastle fan for the rest of their lives. This moment right now, watching all these players lift that piece of silverware. By the way, you can have your say. 03717 223344. The lines are open for a former Newcastle manager. He won Premier League Manager of the Year when he was in charge of Newcastle. Alan Pardew alongside Majestic, about to take your calls on Talksport. 03717 223344. Brilliant achievement from Alan Pardew. I think even he would admit Eddie Howe has just topped it here. Let's talk about the goals as the celebrations continue. I mean, Newcastle had 5 corners in the first half. Dan Burn, first contact on 3 of them, and at the end of the half, buried the header 1-0. That's the story of the first half. That's the story of diligent analysis and preparation and getting all of that right, and Liverpool getting it all wrongly.
Yeah, there was 2 things with the set players. There was Jason Tindall and Stephen Purchase, like you rightly said, brilliant with the set players. Since Eddie's come in with his staff, the inventiveness of our set players have been superb for. And there was the neglect of Liverpool. They went with a half zonal, half marking, but the players who were left to mark weren't the right players, like McAllister marking Dan Burn, for example. Absolute crazy. What they should have done, they should have, even if at half time, changed it, because Newcastle were causing so many problems. They didn't, and it continued. Could have even had another goal from a set play. So all credit to Jason and the staff for the diligent work they do on the set players.
And Darren Ben, that second goal, I absolutely love it. Murphy's header back across to Isaac, square header. Greedy, he could have probably gone for goal. He's thought, no, he's bullied Robertson to the ball, and he's then directed it perfectly to Isaac. It's not exactly an easy ball for him to get right. He could balloon it over the bar, it could go off target. He's got it absolutely sweet, spot on. I think the setup of it from Murphy, the finish from Isaac, that's a great goal.
It is a great goal, and that's just the quality of Alexander Isak. I mean, and that's what you talk about centre forwards. That's why they cost so much, because it's not even so much a chance. He anticipates where the ball's going to land. And Virgil van Dijk, who we know, marked him really well, I thought, today. I thought Virgil van Dijk was brilliant. But in that one moment where the ball goes over to the back post and Murphy gets the head onto it, it's Isak that pulls into a spot and thinks, do you know what? The ball might land here on a penalty spot. And as you just said there, Aid, it's not an easy finish, because it's coming to him quite quickly. He's got to keep it down as well. He's on the penalty spot and he just guides it. Doesn't try and take the lever off the ball. He just almost places it, guides it on the volley into that far corner past Kelleher. And it was a really good goal. But as I said, from the movement from Isak, he's probably thinking, and that's what makes him so good. When you're playing against centre halves that have got your number and everything you do, they're just one step ahead of you, you're thinking, is that opportunity ever going to come? And when it did, as I said, a little bit of intelligence, a little bit of movement, and when he got the opportunity, he weren't going to waste it, and it was a lovely finish.
And Alexander Isak Lee did the old Angel of the North celebration, stood on the hoardings in front of the Newcastle fans. They love him, don't they?
He's as famous as the Angel of the North, that's for sure. We love a striker at Newcastle. We love a one who scores regular, and we've got a very, very special one at this moment in time here. Another reason why this result is so important and can help us in our league programme is to keep the likes of Alexander Isak, because he's one of the very, very best. And if we're not competing at the highest level of the game in club competitions, i.e. Champions League, and competing for the biggest trophies domestically, those type of players will look elsewhere. Now he knows he can stay at our football club and help us be a wonderful era.
Darren Ben, you mentioned Virgil van Dijk having a good game, and he was just, as Crook mentioned it, he was just standing up, sort of leaning against the advertising hoardings, waiting to go up and collect a loser's medal he didn't really want. And I wonder what was going through his head, because he did play well, but he must have been looking at some of his teammates thinking, well, why didn't you turn up? Mo Salah literally didn't turn up to the game. I can't remember anything positive that Mo Salah did. And people have been talking about Ballon d'Or and best in the world and all that. Where was he today?
Well, that's the thing, and you're right, Ada. I wondered that with Virgil, because everything he was asked to do, other than that one moment where he allowed Isak to kind of slip away from him, and he didn't allow it. It was just good play. Sometimes you hold your hands up and say, he's just too good there. I do wonder, he's sitting there looking around, looking at some of his teammates, the performance they put in. Mo Salah looked like he's run out of gas. I mean, he's been outstanding. You look at his numbers this season, I think he's been absolutely outstanding. But the two games against PSG, non-existent. The game against Southampton, I know he scores a couple of penalties, but his overall play wasn't great. And then obviously the biggest occasion of all, the cup final, when your team really needs you, can you go again? He's nowhere to be seen. If you're Virgil, you're frustrated because you're thinking, a season that started off with so much promise with Arne Slot, and yes, they're going to win the league. That's still, for me, the biggest one to win, and that's what they're going to do. The way you've gone out against PSG, when no one really gave PSG a chance, the way you've gone out in that leg, everyone thought the second leg being at Anfield, it's a foregone conclusion. Liverpool never lose at Anfield. They get beat on penalties there. Coming here against a Newcastle side that haven't won a trophy in 60 years, it's another foregone conclusion. All of a sudden now the trophies have dwindled away and you've ended up with the Premier League, and yes, it's still a fantastic season, but you do start scratching your head thinking, what could have been?
Are they going to win the Premier League? Could it be a massive drop-off from Liverpool? None of us are expecting it, but against PSG they played so badly, Darren, and here today again took a couple of subs just to liven them up, but it wasn't enough. I mean, surely the Premier League's in the bag, isn't it? Will Arsenal be getting excited?
No, I still think the gap's too big, but as you said, against PSG, certainly in that first leg, they were just outplayed. They didn't lay a glove on them, couldn't do anything against them. Today they just had no energy. I mean, the only energy that came on was when Curtis Jones come on, Chiesa scores a really good goal, but for 60-70 minutes, it was so comfortable for Newcastle. They ran all over them, they got in their faces, they were a little bit more physical, and it looked like Liverpool had run out of ideas. Not only energy, but there's no patterns of play. There was no getting the ball out to the wide players and seeing if they can make things happen. There's a lot of these diagonal balls that were just going out of play as well. It's probably the poorest, it's arguably one of their biggest games, if not the biggest games of the season, and they put in their most poor performance.
Shocker from Liverpool. I've just realised and worked out why Lee Clark hasn't taken his top off. It's because he's got Sunderland-based T-shirt on.
I saw it. Hey, I saw it.
Don't mention that here.
That's right. He doesn't want to get thrown out of Wembley for the bad language on his T-shirt.
Yeah, another one again. Hey, on a serious note, you mentioned about Liverpool. Can they lose the league? I'm evidence that you can. Remember, 95-96, 12 points clear in February. Man United beat us to the title. So this is football. As you said, 2 disappointing evenings for Liverpool. They need to bounce back now. Got the international break. Is it a good time for them to have that? The players go off and play for their countries, come back and get refreshed, ready to win that one. Because, hey, as I say, I'm witness to something like that. The worry I've got for the Newcastle lads, so I meant to go on international duty, they might make it.
I bet you Dan Burn does.
Dan Burn's on his way now. He's halfway to St George's Park. Yeah. By the way, Newcastle didn't win that title because I think they dropped you on the running, didn't they?
So, yeah,
that was the reason.
Go, yeah.
We all know that was the reason. But Newcastle have regrouped on the pitch. They've had their photographs taken with the trophy. The streamers have been flying. Listen, there's not an empty seat to the right of us where all the black and white Newcastle fans are, and away to our left it is virtually empty. The Liverpool fans have left Wembley empty-handed. Wow, what a day for Newcastle United Football Club. Darren Bent, are you on drive tomorrow, my friend?
I am indeed.
I look forward to that 4 till 7 with Andy Goldstein. Brilliant stuff today from you. And Lee Clark, you joining the party?
I'd like to think so, yeah.
Try stopping you. Listen, stand by for former Newcastle manager Alan Pardew alongside Majestic, taking your calls on the final word on Talksport. 03717 223344. Let me give you some names: Paul Gascoigne, Peter Beardsley, Chris Waddle, Kevin Keegan, Alan Shearer, Ferdinand Asprilla, Philippe Albert. You entertained, you gave it a go in black and white stripes. Sir Bobby is going to be looking down with Geordie pride. Tonight belongs to the Toon Army. The streets of Jesmond, Byker, Heaton and Gosforth will be jumping tonight. All the lads and lasses, all the smiling faces going along the Scotswood Road. Here's something nobody has ever said on Talksport. Newcastle United have won a trophy. They've won the League Cup. They've lifted the Carabao Cup. Stand by for a big market, big party